All right, well, welcome to On the Screen, where one of us doesn't know the difference between Idaho and Ohio, and it's me.
It's not, yeah, it's not the people who live in Idaho.
I just thought Boise, and thought and then thought Ohio, and then
Just admit that you hate Idahoans.
Whatever you say to, keep yourself asleep at night. That's my route.
maybe that's the problem. I don't keep myself asleep at night.
You don't sleep at night.
No, what is this? Oh no, I mean, we're awake, and it's night, and I've got chocolate with a hole in it. I don't know why it's shaped like that. It looks like a fruit roll-up made of cake. It's delicious, though. So, on to our topics for the day. We did the Wheel of Doom, and our very first topic is going to be 90s anime, which I put up there because, well, I watched a lot of that, and it ended up on the wheel. And it was one of the first draws. So, now I will note and state a very particular thing that I think is going to make this a little bit more interesting is that 90s anime can fall under two different time frames, technically, because it just depends on which region we're referring to its release from. So, I'm going to allow basically anything that was localized in the 90s or released in the 90s initially. So, basically, if you wanted to go with something that was localized in 1991 but came out in Japan in 1987, that's perfectly fine because your exposure to it was in the 90s. And that was its official release in our region.
So we're going with whenever your personally exposure to it, as long as it's sometime between 1990 and 1999.
Technically. I say that just because it's like some anime takes a few years before it gets localized, or it came out in Japan and you watched it subtitled instead of waiting for a dub. So, I mean, whenever it was, whichever came first or
not
second.
Like it came out in the 80s and you watched it in the 90s. It came out in the 80s in Japan but was localized in America in the 90s.
So it technically falls under 90s for the sake of argument.
Yes.
But you could alternatively also choose something that came out in Japan in 1999 but didn't get localized until the early 2000s, making it still have been published initially.
I'm going to have to do a bit of Googling for possibly a couple of these, but...
You're just like, ooh, I can add more.
Listen, I'm going in with a mental list, not like I don't write things down, so...
I wasn't going to, spoil myself with that.
I just realized I made a giant list on my phone, and I hope I didn't delete it.
Whoops.
I did not make a list.
I did, and I didn't delete it, because I decided to have a smart that day. Now, it's not necessarily all things that I myself watched. It's just stuff that I was aware of at the time, or feel that didn't get enough exposure or got too exposed or had interesting elements about them that kind of drew me to it. One oddity would be Samurai Pizza Cats, because the opening title is super on point. Like, their opening track literally explains that the people that were in charge of moving all the localization stuff over to them to do anything with it, managed to lose a bunch of stuff, so they didn't have scripts and a bunch of other stuff. So a lot of it was just on-the-fly adjustment.
Oh.
So that's why it came off more like a
joke?
More like how's the word I'm looking? A joke, or more like a 60s, 70s sitcom, really.
It might have been when it actually originally came out, for all I know. But I didn't research that well, so... I know how to spell this word, samurai. I've spelled it so many times at this point. Oh, hey, Samurai Cop, a terrible movie no one should ever watch. Samurai. AI, whatever. Samurai. Samurai Pizza Cats. Okay. Oh, wow, 1990. Jesus, it had 54 episodes.
I never watched it. So.
Oh, my God. And I forgot that was brought over by Saban. And Discotech currently... I forget they still exist. Discotech Media currently has the license for it. Like, why even? Like, why would you still have that?
They're like, we're never letting it go. Out over our cold, dead bodies.
Yeah, basically. Wow, it's actually streamable on Amazon Prime. That's horrible. I didn't realize that was a thing. So I'm going to move that over to this screen so people can see the gloriousness that is the American DVD box set. In fact, or box cover. I'm going to... Yes, that's exact. Yeah, they look like just like cats wearing Gundam outfits. It's so freaking bizarre. I'm just going to send...
Yeah, they never really, you know. That's about it. They're looking like they're.
They were trying to play off... Oh, wow, it even shows up in the chat. That's perfect. I love that. That's a great cover, though. Yeah, it's...
I wonder if they got caught up in the whole anthropomorphic section of the 90s. But
So that was actually the reason for its localization was an attempt to come after, if you will, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like
'Cause
their
that thing
big
was
push
a
for it.
monster.
Oh god, that was just an insane monster.
Here's the thing: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I love it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
will, I
Who
love it to
doesn't?
death. People who don't love it, I mean, honestly, but realistically, and some people don't realize this, the '80s show for EMNT started in the '80s, didn't stand for. It was one of the longest running cartoons out there.
Yeah.
I think at the time it was the longest running cartoon in the US until the Simpsons until the Simpsons beat it out eventually.
Yeah, and continues to beat out everything else in existence at this rate.
No, that thing's a juggernaut, and I love it. And I'm not gonna stop it. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has something like 7 or 8 different iterations.
Oh, it's just so many.
I always love it when they have a series and their series makes all the iterations canon. It just makes it giddy
Right?
every time because they do it like 4 different times.
Okay, Okay, so I did find a good example of what I was referring to earlier with the um, made in the 80s and carried over and didn't get localized until the 90s. Like, I watched very little of this show, and I don't remember a whole lot of it, but when I saw, like, this cover, I was immediately like, I recognize this, and I wish I could put a thing behind it, but there it was, the Ronin
Oh.
Warriors.
Oh, hey. I also didn't watch a whole lot of that one.
Yeah, but it was also, done by the Ocean Dub company, which we may discuss them a little bit down the line, because boy howdy, did they did some weird stuff.
Mess
Particularly,
up a lot of stuff.
well, they've done a lot of stuff, yeah, but the big thing is they had Dragon Ball for a while.
Oh.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is most famously known for its localization through Funimation with Sam Schmel and Christopher Sabat involved.
Chris Sabat.
I know, right?
He comes to our local convention sometimes.
I would love to meet that man. The man
pretty cool.
of many voices. Also, he does a great All Might. Anyway, yeah. So the Ocean dub is just so bad for Dragon Ball Z, which it actually aired a lot more in Canada because the Ocean Company is based out of Vancouver.
Oh.
So stuff kind of went outward from there sooner than it did down into the U.S. So most people, like, you might have caught a couple of the Ocean dubs of Dragon Ball Z, but primarily you really were seeing the Funimation version, which is by far and away the superior. But yeah, they've done a lot of stuff. But there is, let's see, there is an anime that I think gets pretty well and truly overlooked. myself. I don't know if you guys watched this one, which, I mean, you guys probably did because it was on Toonami. Clickety clack, click clack, mechanical keyboards.
It's got clickety clacks going.
I know, so great. Ba-boom.
I did see some of this one.
Oh yeah.
I just got another one that I looked it up because I was like, I wonder if you're gonna say this, and you didn't, but now I get to.
Oh, good, because I'm gonna stop looking at my list. I just wanted to. Those other two were just like ones I was like, well, these are weird, and it's clear what they're trying to pull off of. I mean, even look at the Ronin Warriors. It's got the Sentai formation thing, which, I mean, it was a Sentai show, but it's like, boy, the guy in the front looks just like he's got Gundam arm pads on and legs and everything else, but also Iron Man. But no, Outlaw Star was one that I feel is kind of short-lived, but I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to describe because it's such an oddity. It's like it wanted to be Cowboy Bebop, but wanted to do its own thing, and I think it kind of gets overshadowed by all the similarities that it did share with Cowboy Bebop, and maybe a hint of Ghost in the Shell in there.
It tried to get yeah.
The gun is the coolest part about this show. The caster gun is dope as hell.
Well, they took a lot of liberties for different things, but like, it's in space. Also, there might be magic. Also, there might be super sci-fi. Cyborgs, why not? Let's just throw it all in there.
Mecha, spaceship, magic, sci-fi. And then Jackie chimes in.
Pot.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Sing pot.
Yeah, it was like, I want everything.
You want a furry cat character? Yeah, we got one of them. Boy genius? Well, we got one of those. Now I really liked Outlaw Star, but I could not get into it very much. And that's mostly a timing thing because when I started watching Outlaw Star, I just got out of watching Cowboy Bebop, which is the next one I'm going to throw in. Cowboy Bebop is the greatest thing. It's quintessential. Well, the thing with Cowboy Bebop, which made it so great, especially for a Western audience like ourselves, it was so much easier to swallow. And I say that because it's a Western for the most part, and Western is a genre that's completely that's American. So it was easier for us in the West to attach ourselves to Cowboy Bebop first as a good old starting anime because of it.
It's very true. There's a lot of things. Well, the opening was like perfect for Cowboy Bebop because you had this unbelievably catchy and enjoyable jazz track that would play, and
again, yeah, and jazz is pretty much an American staple too.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but
the cast.
For a lot of people,
I mean, that cast is just fantastic. I mean, they're all different kinds of the spectrum in terms of personality, and they clash, but they make it work.
And that was the thing. I think that was the reason why Cowboy Bebop's success. It was that it wasn't so. It wasn't such your typical anime that came out. It was so different, but it was more relatable to a Western than anything else.
Yep, and it's just an amazing thing that it even exists realistically, because it shouldn't. It was actually never supposed to exist because the pitch and everything about that show was to coincide with the creation of a new line of spaceship toys for the company, and that was submitted, and there was only like really 3 ships, and they kind of were like, no, this is absolutely not what we need or want. This is not what we asked. In fact, the guy's job was basically on the line, if I remember right, and his friend, who was a little bit higher up than him in the company, was just like, let's just take this over to the animation division directly, because he was part of the toy division, I guess is what it was, and they they took it over there, and his friend helped him get it like thrown up and off the ground and pitched in, and they went ahead with it, and we ended up with probably one of the greatest anime of all time. So
That's incredible.
it's like one of those, this shouldn't have happened, but it did. And those are like some of the best stories you can find in media, because it's like someone's creativity was going to be shot down, was going to be left in the dust and completely thrown out, just ignored, put in a little journal and tossed away to be forgotten about. But instead, the masses have gotten to experience it, and its legacy lives on in basically being the quintessential go-to for a template of a space western opera. And I mean, it's just a thing of beauty when you look at it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But yeah, so like my thing with Outlast Star is because my brother watched Outlast Star and he was trying to get me to watch it, and the first couple of episodes I couldn't get hooked to it until much later, and that's just because again Cowboy Bebop came out. I watched that one first, and it was easier to swallow that one.
right. Well, it helps when majority of the episodes are self-contained, like they have interconnections between them, but it's not like you're watching an Inuyasha arc or something where it's like, I missed an episode. I'm in trouble. What's
Miss
happening?
An episode of Full Metal Alchemist, and you're like, oh no,
sweet God, yeah. It's like, why is this person now not here?
Yeah. My only, like, I watched some Outlaw Star. I don't remember much of it because Toonami was like high school. But I have a friend who at one point said that Firefly was ripping off Outlaw Star.
Oh, it super is.
And I just remember being like, okay. Like,
Remember that episode of Firefly with the cat girl in it? Because I sure don't.
well, no, I think his main reasoning was that the girl in Outlaw Star, I don't remember her name, the one girl in Outlaw Star was found in a shipping container the same way that River is on Firefly.
So it's not even a shipping container. It's just a fucking suitcase. Yeah. Oh, fuck. What was her name? Like,
I don't remember. I'm going to Google it.
It's very similar to...
I was going to call her Faye, but then I was like, oh, that's...
No, it's
I'm looking at Faye.
like Melina, Minfilia. I know it's not Minfilia because... Because Minfilia is from Final Fantasy XIV, but it's very, very, very similar.
Oh gosh! Now that you started saying it, I'm like, shoot, I should know. You're
like,
this.
Fuck, I know.
Is it
now.
like Melfina or?
It is Melfina, I believe. Yes.
It is Melfina.
Yeah. Okay, we did good. We did good.
Shoot, I haven't even thought about her since I was in high school.
I'm
shocked I remembered anything.
Oh, but isn't it cool when you do? Because then it's like, see, I remember more of that show, I think, because I was annoyed as hell with my stepfather, who decided that while I was recording an episode on a VHS tape, I am old, so VHS tapes were a thing.
You are preaching to the choir here.
Yes.
Yeah, you talk to me when you get
high school.
Betamax.
Up through high school, I was recording things onto VHSs and then getting very upset when my dad recorded over them.
See, the worst part is, though, I was in the middle of recording, and he just couldn't wait to try and fiddle with the VCR to try and get the timer programmed on it. I'm like, you can't wait, like, 10 minutes for me to finish recording the episode to fuck with it. So, in the middle of the episode, it just, like, jumps away to, like, some weird infomercial thing and a bunch of weird screen menu things from the... Yeah, oh, man, it irked me so bad. But, I mean, that's... how I remember so much of that is like it just burned in me. It's like, why would you do that? Like, why?
VHS is how I watched most of my 90s anime, actually.
How's the old expression about 90s anime? Crack was cheaper.
Oh gosh, trying to find.
You're super right, and that's sad.
Yeah, literally trying to find anime was so difficult, and I remember, my friend and I ended up not really liking to watch things with this friend after a while. Because what she would do is she would like start something with me and then cut it off like 20 minutes before the ending and then tell me the ending. And I'm like,
Wait.
you could literally have just watched it.
Wait, what?
Yes. And
what?
I don't know, but she did that for a lot of things, including one of the Oh My Goddess movies. And a whole lot of Revolutionary Girl Utena. So I've like sort of seen those ones. But we were watching Record of Lodoss War.
Another 90s anime. So it's,
yes.
very fitting.
So good. Very tropey, but good.
They started somewhere.
I had a friend who gave me, I don't know why, but gave me the box set of Record of Lodoss War Chronicles of the Heroic Knight on VHS. And it was very cute, and I mean, it was really fun, and I loved it. And it had this like cute little chibi segment at the end that followed like the basic plot of the anime. But instead of it being this big dramatic thing, was about the villain essentially trying to steal the protagonist's cookies that she had baked. And
okay,
it was just a cute little thing called like Welcome to Lodoss Island or something like that. But anyway, I lent this box set to one of my friends because they were going to make a copy of the VHSs so that they could also have it, and they were going to give me the box set back. And like a week later, they moved away and never gave me the box set back.
I have such a similar story to a video game.
I was so mad.
For me, it was Gundam Battle Assault for the PS1.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I had let them borrow that in exchange. They let me borrow, or suggested I borrow, I should say, because I didn't have anything.
You weren't seeking it out.
Yeah, the first Rainbow Six on PlayStation, and a few days later, just out of nowhere, they moved.
Yeah, this person moved and didn't tell me. Like, they didn't tell anybody they were moving, and so when they stopped coming to school, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. So
I was so upset, and I've been meaning to rewatch all of Lodoss War just so I can see if A, it holds up, and B, Chronicles of the Heroic Knight is actually any good, or if I just remember it because I was 13.
Yeah.
So
14.
The former is the most likely accurate, I'm not going to lie. There is definitely a layer of cheese that has grown over on a lot of these if you go back to rewatch them.
Yeah, and that's, I think, part of some of my reluctance to go back, because I've got quite a few. 90s was kind of my golden anime years, I guess, because so I graduated high school in 2005, and my dad owned a comic book store while we lived down there, and so I watched a ton of anime, and I got a ton of manga. Every Wednesday was New Comic Book Day, and he would just bring me home manga. He would just order it and be like, "Here you go." And I had like thousands of volumes of manga, and I read a ton of it, and I was more into the manga than the anime because it was easier to get my hands on, because literally every Wednesday my dad was like, "Here you go, here's like 12 more." And I'm like, all right. I became like the dealer at my high school.
Hey man, I've got your hookup.
Yeah, and then I would get we knew what class, like who was reading what series and who had what class. So I would read it the night before, and then I would give it to Jessie going to first period, and then Jessie would give it to Catherine on her way to second period, and then Catherine whoever. And then at the end of the day, they'd give it back to me.
That's a miracle.
I know it was, but I these are all some pretty trusted friends.
Okay, that's good.
So most of my anime was 90s and early 2000s, because after my dad sold the comic book store, and before, like Netflix and Hulu and everything was a thing and had a ton of anime on them, my dad was my dealer.
He was the city dealer at that rate, I'm sure.
So, I don't know how well Project A-Co holds up.
Did you say Project A-Cup?
A-Co. A-K-O. Project A-Cup. Could you imagine 12-year-old? My dad... Okay, granted, I was going to laugh at the idea, but my dad let me watch Vampire Hunter D when I was 8. And it was the edited one, but I'm just saying the edited one wasn't much better.
Well, yeah. Well, and fun fact: technically, the voices that we got to hear in that weren't supposed to be the final voices.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, that's a neat little bit of trivia for you. Those were supposed to be the placeholder voices for the pitch for localization purposes and stuff everywhere to go, because a lot of stuff would go from Japanese to English, and then that would, once it became more widespread, would go from there to other languages and such. At least that was my understanding of it when I learned this information. But yeah, they were just doing a quick once read for each line, just to have something there before they got the finalized stuff with the final actors and everything, just so they had something to play with.
We're talking Project A-ko right now?
No, sorry, that was for Vampire Hunter D.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Was like, wait a second.
That was a lead off. That's kind of on me.
But yeah, so anyway, Project A-ko is a really weird one. It's like a slice of life, high school teen drama, sci-fi mishmash, I guess. So, but it's weird because there's like the three girls. A-ko is the redheaded one. B-ko is the purple silver-headed one, and then C-ko is the blonde one, and C-ko is like an alien or a robot or some shit. I do not remember for the life of me. I think she was a robot.
Yeah. So
she's
Leo
real
sent
cute.
a good picture, and I was going to ask which one's the one in the S&M outfit.
B-ko.
Okay, I figured.
So B-ko is just your normal. She's the Iron Man of the group because she's just your normal schmo, but she's got money, so she has all this technology at her disposal. A-ko is like I don't know if I would say the Thor or the Steve, but she's just like, because I don't know if she was created this way or if she was given these powers, but she's like super strong and super fast. And C-ko is just like this like dumb, airheaded, like stupid, like you almost like you want to protect her because you just don't trust her in the world sort of thing.
The world will eat you. I will protect you.
Yeah, but I can't remember if she's an alien or a robot. I can't remember. But it's like a sci-fi action high school drama sort of thing. But both A-ko and B-ko have a crush on C-ko, and they both want to be with her. And so A-ko and B-ko are like rivals. And I just don't remember much about it.
That's
like outside
that's trippy
of it.
weird.
But it's 3 OVAs. So there's 3 movies. Again, I remember so little about them, but I have the box set on DVD. And I don't know if I want to go back and rewatch it because I don't know if it's going to be good or if it's going to be fucking bizarre.
Well,
probably bizarre. It was an 80s anime that got moved into the 90s because that's when it finally got released in the US. So
it was weird. I watched it on when Sci-Fi in the 90s used to do Anime Week. And that's where I watched a lot of anime for free because Sci-Fi would just air a ton of it. And like during the day, they would have like I don't know, like I don't know if Detective Conan was that, but like the stuff meant for more like kids and stuff. And then at night, they would start showing the weird shit. And that's where I also saw Urusei Yatsura's Beautiful Dreamer. And I remember being awake at 2 a.m. going, what am I watching? Like, it was so weird. And like, I don't know, 10-year-old me couldn't really grasp the idea behind it. And all I remember now is that the world was on the back of a turtle.
That is very common Japanese lore of sorts, where literally referred to as the world turtle.
Yeah, and like in this one, everyone's like, I don't know, the whole thing is the world's on the back of a turtle, and there's more to it than that, but at the very end, they like go into space on like some flying creature or something, and they see the turtle just plodding along the earth on its back, and I was like, okay, like I don't get it, but okay.
That's weird.
But that's also where I saw Project A-ko, which I had recorded because my dad and I used to record them on VHSs, and we would have like the 8-hour ones that would start when we were going to bed and then record until we woke up.
Oh my god.
And then we would just watch anime all the time. And there's quite a few of them that I watched. Like I watched a little bit of Galaxy Express 999. which I think is actually a 70s anime that got brought to America in the 90s. I think.
You said it was Galaxy
Express
Express
999. I want to say it was a 70s anime.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Original run was 1978 through 1981 with over 100 episodes, looking at a total of 113.
Yeah, and then that one also branched off into Captain Harlock, so they're like sister series.
Harlock's pretty cool.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that one. I also watched, like, I know this is not 90s, but me and Krista watched the CG movie that was on Netflix, and, like, it's not good. The only good scene was there was, like, a shower scene with some girl, and she, like, randomly jumps into the air in 0G, and we're like, what's the point of this scene? Like, we have no idea. Anyway, it wasn't that good, but Captain Harlock was pretty. But like a lot of the more like weirder and like adulty-er stuff, but not like hentai, would show at night. And there was one, Sol Bianca. That one is another one I watched, and just like no one has like ever heard of it, like ever. And I don't remember if this is the one. I think it is, but it's like everybody in it is named like April, May, June. There's the shower scene, yeah.
It's required,
thank you, Leo.
though.
But I remember Sol Bianca being really good. And like the animation for it is really pretty. Like it's very 90s, but it's so like nice to look at. And it's just got consistent good quality.
Wow, yeah, that actually looks like the kind of quality that you aim to find today.
Yeah, I think it's a short series.
Wow, that actually that last photo actually does have a lot of common things shown that I like. Well, for one, the girl on the left reminds me of Lane. Serial Experience Lane.
Yeah, reminds me of speaking of pretty like that. There was I picked up just a while ago the real Ghostbusters in their that 80s cartoon.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's all its glory. Well, no, I loved it.
Okay.
Because
I'm sorry.
It's an 80s cartoon full of cheese. I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing this.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's like I know a guy who went out of his way to buy the complete Legend of Zelda cartoon series.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
in the 80s,
excuse me.
Well, excuse me, princess.
So it gets kind of weird because what will happen is in certain animated series in the 80s and part of the 90s they did this too. What they'll do is that they won't stick with one studio when they're doing their animation. And typically it's because they do different contracts, but in some cases to get the episodes out as fast as they can. The scripts are already done and they give it out to and they just sort of just hand it out to whichever animation companies that they have.
Like
so
a
like
B or
it's
C
weird.
Team.
Yeah. So it gets weird on that one because you'll see one episode in The Real Ghostbusters, which is like one of the most garbage animation I've seen in a long, long time. It's like, and this is even for the 80s. And you have like there's one particular episode where the animation holds up to almost to past the 90s, almost early 2000s.
Interesting. Okay. So basically,
but they
just pushing
vary all over the place.
Just pushing the limits.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at Sol Bianca, it's 2 episodes long, which is why it probably was able to look so good for so long. But
it's probably designed as a movie almost.
Yeah, and there is apparently a 6-episode OVA remake of the series.
Oh snap!
Called Sol Bianca Legacy, and I'm gonna see how that one looks. Okay, I can't tell if this is real or if this is weird fan art. Oh, that first cover that I showed you, that is Sol Bianca the Legacy. That is part of the remake.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go. Okay. It's blurry because I didn't let it load yet. Here we go. Copy. Okay, so it does look like in even in oh look, Castle of the Living Dead is on the TV. Okay, so that first that's the same
image.
screenshot. Hey, that's not what I meant to send. Copy. There we go. So that first picture that I sent, not the one with the 3 girls, but the one above that one is from the Legacy OVA.
Okay.
Which means I think the other one might also be. But anyway, it holds up. It looks really good. I really like it. I have one that I really want to talk about, but I kind of want to let you guys talk again. Sorry.
You just want to
Feel
hold
like
off
at
for a
some
moment.
point.
Yeah, I feel like I can just. Oh, there's 2 actually, but one of them I know better than the other, so I don't know how. Anyway, you guys talk.
That's fair.
I feel bad dominating the conversation.
That's not a problem. I mean, that's part of the joy of this, is just sharing, these things that not everyone was aware of. Like, I didn't know about Project ACO, and I didn't. Yes, not A Cup, ACO. Although that makes me think of Slayers, because for whatever reason she thinks that sticking her boobs in that little puddle is going to make them bigger rather than just saggy. Yes, the whole plot of Slayers. Thank you.
So, I mean, if we're going with that, a 90s anime I've got to put up here because it's the first anime I ever bought on DVD when
Hey,
The Irresponsible Captain Tyler.
just reminded me of another one. Oh my gosh, I have not thought about some 90s anime in a good while. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't do a whole lot of thinking leading up to this.
That's fair. That's
Neither did I.
It's still fun.
But yeah, so like that's one of the my biggest memory is that because it's one of the first animes that I purchased for myself, and I refused. I don't know why, but I had a straight up refusal to not. And this is because it used to be a lot of animes were piecemealed out. You'd have to get like episodes like 4, 5, and 6 on a VHS or something.
My
yes,
God.
This one,
I literally walked uphill both ways to a Walmart to buy a VHS of Dragon Ball GT.
my cousin used to get Escaflowne DVD. This was when they were coming to America on DVD.
How dare.
But used to get there was like a mail-in or a mail order service or whatever where you could do a monthly plan and whatever, and they ordered a bunch of different anime, but they would get Escaflowne and they would get one DVD at a time.
Ugh.
And it was like one every month. And so we started watching Escaflowne, and then we would every month when she got the new DVD, I would go up to her house and we would have like a viewing party until we got to like, episode 26, and suddenly we needed like a whole weekend.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah.
but yeah, Tyler, I refused for some unknown reason to unless I could get it in its full set, and it's mostly because I wanted to power through the whole thing.
Well, there's something special about being able to watch it at your leisure rather than watching it as dictated by the company.
Well, it's funny because like I got hooked to this because I rented one DVD from it, or one DVD or VHS from the OVA, not even the right series, and I still managed. And like, okay, I need to see the rest of this. Now this is a thing I need to have happen. It wasn't for a long time to realize that the one episode I was looking at was an OVA.
Yeah, it's different actors too from the OVA to the series.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes. But yeah, that was one of my first like actual collection of anime I got. I really liked it. I always liked the ensemble casts.
Yeah.
Especially when the ensemble is like completely buried all over the place.
My sister and I are cleaning out our storage unit, and we're getting the last of my stuff out of there tomorrow, and I'm intrigued because I know I have a bunch of anime still in there somewhere that I'm going to uncover, including some box sets. I'm really excited. There was a point when after high school, my parents and I moved up to Idaho from California, and I don't know what happened, but anime was like dirt cheap all of a sudden for like box sets. I was getting box sets of anime for like $30.
Yeah. That's like just an amazing thing.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, because I remember just feeling like I could never get anime because it was always so expensive, but we moved up here and, like, just like an aside, I had a really rough depressive slump when we moved up here. And I spent a lot of time playing video games and watching anime and locking myself away in my bedroom. And I went to Best Buy with my parents once, and for like $30 to $35 each, I got the Final Fantasy anime pre-tier and Escaflowne box sets.
Wow. Okay,
And
so is it the ADV Films complete set of the Final Fantasy anime?
yes, in the
Awesome.
like slim DVD
Yeah,
cases.
yep, I have that exact same one actually.
So nice.
Yeah, it's oddly enough, it's on loan to my friend who speaks Japanese and suggested that they all wear panties to school exclusively, just like the boys.
Um,
She is very bad about watching things that she borrows, so she's been sitting on it for a while, though not literally.
thank goodness for that.
Well, yes, because she's also pregnant, so
Oh, well, congratulations to her.
yes, she will soon be the mother of 2.5. I say half because she is a stepmother.
Mm.
So.
I have 3 that I just thought of, by the way.
Oh, okay. I was like, children?
Yes, they're called My Cats and My Switch.
Oh, well, if we're going to include consoles, then I'm in trouble because I think I've got like 12 in the other room.
Yeah, also my computer. Although I'm trying to work on piecing together a new one. Not that this one's bad. This one's actually still holding up. I made it in 2014. It's holding up really well and it's really nice, and like I'm getting ready to do more like maintenance on it this weekend to like clean it out and everything. I just want something new and better.
Okay.
So yeah, my PC is also my baby. No, I have 3 new 90s animes I want to talk about. Let me verify that this one's from the 90s. I'm pretty positive.
Okay. And
Hell yeah.
quick question too.
Mhm.
Have you heard of PC Part Picker?
Yes, that is actually where I
Okay.
have my new PC picked out on.
Good. Yeah, because I was going to say I did that, and I'm so glad I did because the initial motherboard I was going to get for my build would not have been able to utilize any of the USB ports on my tower, on my case that I had chosen. So
Nice.
So I was like, thank God I did this first.
Yeah, I did the PC part picker and I found the tower and then the motherboard and then just built it all from there.
Perfect.
And I do like that it tells you like
Yeah, compatibility on
things
there
aren't
was
gonna
so
work
useful.
together. Okay, so I want to talk about. I got to figure out which one I want to talk about first. I guess
I'm
this one.
curious to see if I've heard of them.
So I really love this one, at least from what I remember. I really loved this one.
Nostalgia's a bitch, isn't it?
Again, I'm a little bit afraid to go back and rewatch it, but I remember loving this one. I do own the box set of this one. And if nothing else, the soundtrack is so good. It has one of the singular best anime opening themes I have ever heard. And I will get it for you.
Really? Blue Seed, okay.
Yeah, it also has a really beautiful track that plays in the last episode, so you're just a sobbing mess when you get there. And then this song plays and you're like, thank you for kicking me in the feelings. But it has such a good opening theme song. Like easily what I feel is one of the best that I've ever seen.
Blu-ray, okay. So does Sentai Filmworks have the current license for this?
Let me Google some shit for you, shall I?
Yeah, because I know that doing standard definition on Blu-ray disc, I have seen Sentai Filmworks do that with a couple of things. So I haven't seen anyone else do it. That's the only reason why I ask.
Licensed by originally ADV Films in 96 to 2009,
Okay.
Discotech Media from 2018 to present for home video, and then Made in Japan from 2019 to present for streaming.
Okay.
So no.
Well, I'm probably getting it mixed. I just scrolled on a thing that I have up to for Sentai Filmworks has the rights to another um, anime from the 90s, technically, that I have up right now. But that's probably why I was thinking that, because I just read that too. But go on. So, a Blue Seed.
Blue Seed, yes. So it's like a supernatural style anime, and also here's the opening theme if you ever want to listen to it. It's fantastic. Highly recommend it.
Excuse me.
It's like a supernatural type thing. So she is, and the cover that is on the left there is actually from the manga, not the anime.
Okay,
but
Production IG. Okay, they do good stuff.
yeah, and that's why I feel like I could go back and watch this one. I don't know how the voice acting would hold up, but what have you. It was a 90s anime. But it was like, yeah, supernatural thing, and it's all about like she is a priestess, or like she's like a schoolgirl who's a priestess in training, and she finds out that her family is part of a ritual, and her sister is like gets possessed by something or whatever, and she meets the dude in the background, who is like a demon, but he's also supposed to protect her so that the evil stuff can't happen. Listen, I haven't seen it since like 2004, so I don't remember a lot about it other than the music is really good. But also something that I thought was really sweet is, so I had this on VHS for a long time, like recorded from TV, and during the time when they were airing it on TV, they would do like interviews with the voice cast.
I love stuff like that.
I know, it was so neat. And one of the things I remember is that the girl who voiced Momiji, the main girl, and the guy who voiced Kusanagi, her love interest, ended up getting married. They met on the set or like on the like sound rooms or whatever of the show, and
So
they
like
did a lot of their the sound studio, that's it. And they did a lot of their lines together in the same room, and over the course of it, they like fell in love and they got married and had little Momiji and Kusanagi figures on their wedding cake.
Okay, that's sickeningly adorable.
I know. So that one's really good, and I really enjoyed it. Again, I'd be willing to bust out my box set again and just see if I could find any more information, or like not find more information, watch it again so I could know for sure if it actually holds up. I remember that there's like a crazy cast of characters, like in that cover that I sent, there's the scientist dude who's like your typical looking dork with the glasses and the blue shirt and the red tie off to the leftish there. He has a crush on he has a crush on the girl in front of him, not the girl on the left, but the girl in the pink jumpsuit.
Right.
He has like a crush on her, but he ends up like building this program that can like predict the outcomes of certain things, and the way he tests it, and like this is just typical like anime stuff. The way he tests it is so Momiji, the main girl, she wears different underwears every day of the week that have different animals on them.
Pantsu.
But yes, but it's all like randomized. Like she just picks them out, or maybe she has her own thing or whatever. But he builds a program that predicts what pair she'll wear next. And the girl, I think it's Kome is the name of the girl in the pink jumpsuit in front of him. She's like the gun expert. She's like offended that he would try and predict something like that. And then it turns out he's totally right. And so he's like, oh my God, we can use this to solve this thing that is like the supernatural thing. And that's one of the only things I remember outside of this incredible soundtrack.
You were right, though. There is a character named Kome in that show. I just scrolled a little bit further down on the wiki.
I think Kome is the girl in the pink jumpsuit with the blue headband. And her sister's name is Katie, but it's Kaede.
Well, yes, about the Katie part, that is definitely spelled correct.
Yeah. I don't remember what
and
else
pink jumpsuit, you are correct.
Yes. I couldn't tell you anybody else's name other than Momiji, Kusanagi, Kome.
Okay, I have to share this
Katie.
picture I just found of Blue Seed because it shows Kome nipping very hard.
Is this the one where Momiji is also wearing the tiniest bikini you've ever seen?
No.
Oh, okay.
but I clicked the thing and it took me somewhere else, so now I'm offended. Oh, I know. I can do the view image thing. Do this. Copy. Boop, boop, boop. Well, there it is. Okay, it's going to work.
Yep.
That is a rock hard nip.
I thought you were going to send this picture, which I only know so well because I have the soundtrack or one of the soundtracks to this. And
is things
so
going to get
one
weird?
of the
Are we going to see more nitpicks?
yes. So
Nice.
one of the things, this is like an oddly like, it's like almost a plot point, almost, not really, but Kusanagi keeps like accidentally, quote unquote, accidentally like touching Momiji's chest, and he's just like, oh, your boobies are small. Essentially, he's just like talking about how small her titties are. And there's one point when he's like, he like has her shirt grabbed, like he's like yelling at her, and then he just like peers down her shirt and he's like, I was right. And she gets super duper offended because she has small boobies. So when I saw this on the cover of the soundtrack, I was like, do we have different definitions of small boobies? Because she's on the right there.
The one with the straw
The
hat.
one with the big hat?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, those are not small boobies.
Also, there is a nip. The blonde.
I don't remember her name.
Yeah, one tit is cold, the other is not.
Dude, bet's her name is Sakura. I bet her name is Sakura.
Why not?
I already closed the wiki, so I'm
getting back into
I'm not
the wiki.
gonna fact check it now. It's too late.
Sakura Yamazaki. Oh, Yoshiki was the name of the scientist. Okay, I'm looking at things. Okay. I just see Jackie typing and I'm like, here we go.
Oh, it's like we must wait. Yes, let's see if our somewhat silent
Herd Nips had to see.
You know, did I save it?
So the next one I wanted to talk about, a little bit more popular, but also like still niche. So I guess I don't know, like maybe you've heard of this one. Also, the cover of this is only mildly reflective of what the anime looks like. Okay. So this cover is of Anna Puma and Una Puma, twin sisters in Dominion Tank Police. They are the villains, kind of.
Oh, I remember Dominion Tank Police. Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I have it. I have a box set of it.
I say that
good.
as it looks like they're crawling out of an alien vagina.
Actually have like a striptease moment, but it's not like a full-on striptease.
Strip cheese, yay!
Striptease. It's not a full-on striptease that they're doing. They don't get fully naked, and it's totally to distract the police force, who is primarily dudes, from something that their like partners in crime are doing or whatever. So this is what the anime itself looks like. Still very good quality, still looks really good. But that main girl in the front, her name is Leona, and she saw these two girls and was like, what do you think you're doing?
I agree.
But that one is really good. I don't remember a whole lot about it though, but here's the sisters in the anime.
Why do you look like that right now? Are you wanting... Oh, okay. I thought it was like, I'm gonna punch you in the head.
They have money in their boob, or in their bras. Or at least that one does.
I wouldn't call that a bra, I'd call that...
like S&M gear.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. Everything you're posting is still infinitely more appropriate than what I plan to share momentarily.
I'm intrigued.
You shouldn't be. You should be scared.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay, and then the last one I want to share, until I inevitably probably think of more, because again, this is like my golden time of watching anime. So this one is actually an anime that's a prequel to a live action movie that I've never seen because I can't find it.
Aria.
Iria.
Yeah.
Iria.
So good. It's like, I want to say it's like 4 or 6 episodes long, but it's like really good, and she's really good, and the anime itself, like the animation style is really good. Like that looks like what it looks like in the anime for the most part. Like here's well, let me try and find a good quality one. Here we go. Here's one from within the anime itself.
Ooh, very nice. Yes.
Yeah,
Is that
it
also
looks really
production
good.
IG? Because I'd believe it if he said so.
Check. Hang on. So it's not very long, but it is really good, and it's got some good emotional. There is like the voice cast isn't phenomenal, but it's certainly not awful by any stretch of the imagination. It is licensed by, in North America, Discotheque Media.
Of course it is. But was it made by Production IG, like the actual animation studio?
Produced by Ashi Productions and directed by Tetsuro Amino.
Really, just Ashy, huh? That's it.
Yeah, that's all it says.
That's weird.
Oh wait, produced. Oh yeah, sorry. Yes.
Yes.
Just yes.
And that one was really good, and it's really short, and I just remember really enjoying it. And I remember I loved it. I loved the dub, and then I like kind of I don't know, rewatched it a few years later and was like, "Oh, okay, so the dub's not actually that great." I mean, it's not horrible, but it just you listen to it and you're like, oh, like these people. It was a time when anime was still new to being translated.
Right. So just to coincide with the, man. So it's technically animation, technically, but also since we were posting nips, I also felt the need to block nips as well as other things. I got an email from Right Stuff a while ago, and it surprised me. I have had to edit this, so it's not me showing porn.
Intriguing. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I read the top title when I saw that. I was like, ooh. Then I read the bottom subtitling, and I went, ooh.
Oh my god. Okay.
It is not loading on my computer, so it's less entertaining.
I guess I'm confused. Oh no,
There it
never
is.
mind. I figured it out.
What'd you figure out? What I had to censor?
No, there just his hand, and the way her skin was coming down by his hand. I was like, does she have a third appendage there? And then I realized, no, that's his hand squishing and making her like skin. Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, I got that in my email. I was like, huh.
Huh.
Adult source media.
Shocking.
Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Believe you me, I did not.
Yeah,
I got that email and I was like, I might need to change my settings on Right Stuff. Or not.
Or not.
Or nut.
Listen, I know a modicum of what Jackie's into, and I feel like you could convince her to watch that with you.
You're probably not wrong. But that's not.
I mean that
like
with the utmost love.
I know. But I probably wouldn't pick these titles.
No.
For obvious reasons.
If you're gonna get some like dirty stuff, I feel like you could, like, she would not be against watching it.
No, but I could do so much better.
You could treat her right.
Yeah.
Buy her better hentai.
You heard. Buy her better hentai.
Also,
Jackie,
okay, I don't know if it
what they
counts.
said to buy you better hentai.
Well, you better.
Okay, well, she said, well, you better.
Also, I don't know if this counts, but Reboot.
No.
It's not Japanese anime.
But
I'm
it
just
is the
saying.
best. It is the best looking CG cartoon that has existed for like 20 years.
And
So
also, it was the first ever fully CG
Fully CG.
cartoon to ever exist.
this is true. This is true.
Anyway,
that-
you should keep the Blue Seed opening available to listen to because it's amazing. Also, Matsuri Uta is a really great song by that too. So hang on, I'm gonna link you that one as well, and then we can move on to either more animes or our other topic.
It may be a good moment to move to the other topic at that rate, just because
It's been going on for a while.
it's been about an hour, but it's not like it's been boring. We've had plenty of discussions.
Yeah, this has been really good.
Still grabbing by the pussy down there.
You just don't expect to see things, certain
No.
things.
You sure
And I'm gonna
don't.
link Matsuri. So this one, the Matsuri Uta version I'm about to send you, it actually plays 3 different versions of the song, because it plays these throughout the anime. So the first one is just like basic instrumentals, and then the second one has like, I'm gonna say vocals, but it's more just like been going like la 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 la, and then the third one is where it really builds up. And there is a vocal version that has words. Cannot for the life of me find it on YouTube at all. Anyway, bless you.
Oh my god, thank you. I was concerned about tweaking my back like I have the last 4 times I've sneezed.
I found out the other day that I have arthritis in my neck.
That is like the least beneficial place to have arthritis.
I know. Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt. It just, I mean, it does hurt. I've had a headache for the last month.
To have arthritis.
Oh, I would assume that arthritis in your pinky toe wouldn't be a problem compared to your neck.
I wouldn't say it's beneficial.
Anyway, it sucks. It sucks because I have to go see my chiropractor a whole bunch more because of a car accident I was in almost 4 years ago.
Gross. I am so sorry.
That's okay. Anyway,
But since we're going to be on the topic of the various... Well, before we leave, I guess, the topic, I'm going to say one of my favorite anime opening tracks just by sending it.
also Catch You, Catch Me by Cardcaptor Sakura is really cute. I love that one.
Okay.
Also, the DN Angel song, True Light, and whatever the name of that other song from DN Angel is. I know there's like 100 because it's an anime, and they always have like 1,200 different vocal albums.
Oh, God,
'Cause
right?
they're like, here's this character's vocal album, and here's this character's vocal album. But it's, I think I actually accidentally. Hi, Ashley. We all hear you.
Cute kitty.
She is very cute. Byakuya. It's called True Light. But oh, the other one's called Wherever. Anyway, DN Angel also has some pretty decent music.
Very nice. My favorite of the series incarnations, and also my favorite anime opening of all of them.
Gundam
Yeah.
Wing.
Oh my gosh, Gundam Wing has such good music too.
Now, a very close contender for one of my for a favorite opening. This is probably my number 1 favorite opening track, but a pretty close one now because I just remembered it after saying those words.
Oh my god, I have not listened to Gundam Wing music in so long, and I had so much of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually look at my anime collection in my iTunes.
And then there's this one.
I've never watched Dot Hack.
I have.
What? Dot Hack Sign has one of the most... Oh my god, you need to just watch this intro.
Okay, well,
I
hang
like
on.
the intro. Do not like the anime. Honestly.
That's fine.
It wasn't one of my...
It's way...
Bubblegum Crisis has some really good music.
Yeah. So I will say with Dot Hack Sign, the show is kind of hard to follow because it's intended to be a companion piece to the games.
Mhm.
And it's very intellectual. Whereas everything else, all the other animes out there in the world are more action-oriented. But this intro is just... It has you intrigued, and it kind of makes you want to know what's happening.
make you like a playlist of anime music because I just found like 1,000 more that I wanted to.
Yeah, this opening track is just fucking amazing.
Hang on. Before I bring this up. When did this air? Ranma 1/2. It went from 87 to 96. I'm in the clear. Ranma 1/2 had some really fun music. But Tsubasa, absolutely not. It's a 2000s anime.
Oh, are we talking the soccer show or Reservoir Chronicle?
Reservoir Chronicle.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I hate the way it ended because it didn't.
Okay. One of the troubles of my dad owning a comic book store and ordering things for me was that he would get me volume 1 of something. And by the time I got volume 1 and was like, I like this, please keep getting this one, the time would have passed for him to have ordered volume 2. So, and sometimes he did that with volume 3. The number of manga series that I have that go 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, baffling.
You might go out of your way to fix that.
Maybe, but most of my manga's gone now. I've got very few series that I've decided to keep.
That's fair.
But Tsubasa was one of those. I think I actually had 1, 2, and 3, and then he didn't get me 4 or 5. And you can't just do that. So
yeah, no.
I don't know how it ended. I don't remember. Like I think I got 4 volumes in and then was like, I don't know how this goes.
Well, I know the anime diverged from the manga a bit. And they tried to get
the music.
Yeah, the music is really good. The anime, they tried to kind of dial it back in at the very end. And by that I mean by releasing OVAs that were really solid, had better animation, and they literally, the 2 OVAs together, set up for the final battle, and they never delivered a final battle.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like sometimes Clamp just does that.
That pissed me off so bad, though. Like, Jackie could tell you, because she actually, she got me, I don't remember if it was the show or if it was the OVAs, but, she watched them with me, and I had the knee-jerk reaction of, what? Like, sat up, got forward, I'm like, what? That's where you're going to end it off? Because I knew it was the very last thing they released for the show. I was like, that's really how you're going to end it? With the world's greatest cliffhanger? Just the biggest drop-off of, well, let's go do the thing and get the final bad guy, and then never do it?
Yeah.
What?
I was going to say Clamp is good at that, but Clamp actually isn't good at that. They're usually really good at tying all their stuff up. The girl who made DN Angel does not know how to end anything. So I read the manga for DN Angel, and I think I got to volume 12, and it ends on the biggest cliffhanger where you're like, what is even going to happen here? How can this happen? Like, holy shit, I'm so into this. I need to know. And then she put it on indefinite hiatus and never came back to it.
Dick.
And then she started working on this other manga called Candidate for Goddess, which was actually really good and really interesting. It's a space mech series, and it was really interesting, and I really liked it. And she got to volume 5, and you're like, huge cliffhanger, and then she puts the end ... question mark, and I was like, you don't know how to end anything, and I don't trust you now. Like, I can't ever read anything you do anymore, because like both of the things that I really wanted, like both of these, I got super invested and nothing.
That's depressing.
Also, I have actually one more anime before we move on, and I'm really sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine. This will be the final one, though. And then we will swap back to Leo for a opener on games that made us emotional.
Okay. Fatal Fury.
Which one?
All of
you gotta
them.
have to.
All of them. They were all. I never finished the middle one. So there's like the first one with What's Her Bucket.
Because the first one is really bad.
Well, the first one's with that green-haired girl, Lily or Lilia or something like that.
It's I think Lily, and it's really bad because it fast tracks too many things, doesn't make sense, and also Andy's hair is the wrong color.
it's like an hour long and they did too much and he's like in love with Lily and then she dies 12 minutes later and you're like, I feel nothing about this, but he's like, I'm cursed and can never be in love. And then I got like halfway through like the second one and I didn't care, but I love the other one, the like full like hour and a half
The feature
long
film.
one with the girl Sulia and her brother and you're just like, he's like, I can't be in love because people die, and she's like, but I love you, and they fall in love, and at the end she dies and you're like, oh no, how dare she,
How dare she fulfill that prophecy?
god damn it. But that was the first one I saw, and then I went back and watched it because I was like, who's Lily? And then I watched it and I was like, oh, like I don't really care.
So people will shit on it, and I don't care. They can do that. It's their right. But watch the King of Fighters free anime. It was done out of a Chinese CG animation company. It's completely free on Steam, 100% free. And
On Steam?
yeah, and it is more or less a tie-in for the entirety of the King of Fighters series, and they launched this alongside King of Fighters 16? 15? No, 14. It was 14 because that's the last one they did, and 15's coming. Yes.
Okay.
But
yeah,
because
I'll
it ties
check
in, Fatal Fury is a part of it. So
Well, yeah, Veil of Fury is part of the King of Fighters series. So it's
Yeah.
Art of Fighting and
yeah.
There-
something of the Wolf, and there's a bunch.
Guaro is technically a Fatal Fury title,
Yeah.
which is Mark of the Wolves. But yeah, it's like 4 or 5 SNK fighting franchises, and they ended up like kind of looping them all into the King of Fighters series. And that CG anime kind of does an okay job with some of the origin stories for some of these characters, and it does a better job with the Lily character, like by far.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've never played the King of Fighters game. It's just Fatal Fury was one of those that showed on some anime station somewhere that I recorded on VHS and shared with all my friends.
Oh shit, that was
and
on Toonami.
Hmm.
That's where I saw it.
I don't think
It
that
just
I
randomly
did
pops up and then goes away.
Yeah.
because I saw it when I was in 6th grade, I think, because I remember passing I remember like having my friend Lauren over to watch it, and I knew her mostly between like 6th and 8th grade. We did know, like, we knew each other a little bit past then, but like things got really awkward between us, so we stopped hanging out. Anyway, that's it. And I'm gonna probably end up making you a playlist later of anime songs because I just feel real nostalgic.
Oh, I
for
gotta
it.
make me a mixtape.
I
Hey,
gotta
you know
make
what? We're talking 90s anyway. Let's go do the mixtapes.
my car's auxiliary port doesn't work, so I have to listen to mixed CDs that I create.
Oh, I still do that.
Yes. So anyway,
All right,
hit us
so
off, Leo.
we are moving on now with Leo to kick off the games that made us emotional.
I'm glad it's emotional and not cry.
Yeah, my original thing was made you cry, but like I cry at a lot of things, so it's a lot easier for me to be like, I cried at this, and Leo's like, why?
Oh, it's
Not
such
in a
because
mean
like,
way, just
Well, it could
like
be
after
that
like the third or fourth one, like the fourth time this is happening, I'm like, am I a monster?
it's like, yeah, Leo could just be a cold-hearted bitch.
Uh-huh.
he's a cold-hearted snake.
Oh, look into my eyes.
I
All right,
can't.
Leo, go.
I can't look.
Well, he's just been telling lies. Well, if they're getting emotional, I mean, I've got to put this one on there because I have never been more angry at a boss before
Oh,
than
we're going angry too.
it's an emotion.
It's true, it is. I was going to say preferably the sads, but if you've got a very strong hate boner, by all means share it.
Okay, so I'm going to share this
See, now
one.
now I'm interested. Let's dial this up to 11, folks.
That sweet coding too. I actually had a better like picture for that.
Okay,
But it's not even for the main storyline, which is a great story. Like I love the way that it is, but mostly it's because of this jackwagon. And he's not even the main villain in the movie. Or in the game. He's just like the halfway point. Luca Blight. Because the thing is that they did with this that I haven't seen very many JRPGs do.
God, that's horrifying.
Oh yeah, that's him regular time. So what you see him do is like torture people in towns constantly.
Gross.
And so like, what is it? There's this sequence in the very, very early on because you and your team just basically bail out of this town, and then he shows up. Like I think it's almost like a week later, and when he shows up, he basically and he tells this woman that's there who's begging for her life. He goes, "Well, if you're gonna beg for your life, beg like a pig." What? Beg like a pig. If you're going to pretend to be a pig. And then after she gets her to get down on her hands and knees and pretend to be a pig, he just laughs at her and cuts her up because she's just a pig to her now.
Wow.
That's
And the thing, he does that stuff like that all throughout the thing, and he's just a bastard.
That's.
And so like the thing is that like, and you've seen it before in different RPGs and such where you follow sort of the villain's train of thought, but not when they get too torturous. Like Kefka from 6, he poisons a whole city, but you see the aftermath, not the during part. And Luca, like on the other hand, you see him just basically trash a person, and then when you get to the fight for him, when you get to fight him, you're like, yeah, that bastard's going down. I need to make sure. No. He's just a dick. I need to kick his ass. They don't tell you right away that that's a 3-part fight, and then he just does not want to go down.
Okay, so basically, the game got you very emotionally invested in offing this douche nozzle, and and then they also made it one hell of a chore.
Oh yeah, like it's funny because you build a whole the storyline to the game makes it so you build an entire strategy to kick that guy's ass entirely, and you
Kick
break
that
up
ass
your
in
team.
particular.
And he does not go down.
Yeah, no, that's a good solid start for that. Jeez.
But yeah, he makes them basically beg and plead for their life, and then after that, fuck it, you're no good to me anyway.
You'll just be bacon on the breakfast table.
Yep. And so yeah, it's super cold. I want to see if I can figure out if I can find something that makes me more of a sads than a mads.
Trade the mads for the sads.
Mm-hmm.
By all means, do not use the glads.
Well, I mean, there are games that make me just ridiculously happy, but it's just
true. There
it's
are
not that
feel
they're-
good games. Those are called H games.
But those ones aren't really more of the emotions that. Well, I guess we could. Like Katamari Damacy just makes me happy to play every time.
Yeah, I mean there is something special about their little La song. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. La 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 la.
Now, if you think this game Suikoden 2 is like full of these hard work emotions, keep in mind somewhere in that game is an entire section dedicated to Iron Chef. So you have a cooking contest you have to deal with.
Oh God.
Oh, and the sassiest son of a bitch sword you'll ever deal with, which is hilarious.
Okay. I have this game in the other room. I'd go get it, but it wouldn't do me any good. I also haven't finished the first game, and that's the only reason I haven't started the second one yet.
Yeah, because the first and the second are fairly direct sequels.
Yeah.
The sword thing is just hilarious when you find after you go through it, because you get the sword in the first game, and then you get the same character, and he gets the sword in the second game. And I don't want to really ruin that for you unless you care about that tiny minor spoiler. It's just funny though.
Yeah, it's McDowell, I think, is the technical canon name of the hero from the first game, because he appears in the second game.
Yeah, it's a whole subquest for that.
Yeah. Well, does Liz have any emotional games? Or does Leo have a second one?
I'm working on that second one. Well, I do have a game that just fills me with ridiculous joy for the nostalgia, though.
Oh? Does it bring you to tears with how happy it makes you?
It brings me to surprisingly amount of giddy.
Giddy.
Like I literally went like.
Do you squee when you watch it or review it or stare at it or play it?
On occasion,
Squee!
Leo,
I squeeze sometimes.
what
Like-
game is it?
Like the little piggy that got murdered?
Oh, I gotta go.
Leo, what game is it?
Ghostbusters Simulator.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's a dope game, actually.
It's super good, but it fills me with all the joy and nostalgia feelings for it, and they did such a good job with that game.
Yeah, that game is... Oh, it's way better than it has any right to be.
hmm That game is like the French fries at Del Taco. They're way better than they should be.
Where they have free
have-
shavakadu.
Yeah, there's no reason Del Taco's fries should be that good.
It's like KFC and their fries.
KFC has fries.
Brand new. They're almost sweet, which is hilarious because Chicho one time accidentally just poured sugar on his fries.
Oh,
Thinking it
whoops.
was salt. Because the salt shaker and the sugar pourer were right next to each other and about the same size. And we're sitting at the restaurant eating, and he just grabs one and goes to shake, and just like the top flips open and just pours out onto his fries. He's like, oh.
Get that Stay Puft guy.
And I looked
Like-
at him and I said, dude, that's awesome. And we just ate sugar-coated French fries, and it was delicious.
Like that's an amazing shot, and that's one of the coolest boss battles that you have. And you do very little in the boss fight. It's just amazing to go
Yeah.
through, though.
It's just straight up a nostalgia boss, and it needed to be there as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
In
Like I
fact,
want to take Liz through that, but I want her to see the movies first before I do.
you haven't seen the Ghostbusters movies?
So what what games do you have?
We're gonna have words later. But
I feel like my parents raised me completely wrong because I didn't even see Terminator until Terminator and the first Jurassic Park until 2014. I blame my parents.
So, Jurassic Park is like one of my favorite films of all time. It's probably
It's
in my top
so
3.
Good.
And,
It's so good.
And it holds up. Like,
oh God, that's the worst
amazing.
part is it holds up. It's 20, nearly 25 years old, and it still looks
It's
absolutely
It's
amazing.
because they did practical special effects. That's
Yes.
why you'll always get more longevity out of your effects if it's practical or mostly practical.
That that Tyrannosaur was like full scale, fully animatronic, and there was a short they couldn't find, and it would sometimes like make jerk reactions
Oh gosh.
when it wasn't running. So they would actually tell all of the crew to just steer clear of it when you're going by, to be cautious when going by it. And I think that short came about from the fact that they were insistent in doing that shot and scene in the rain, and it was not designed to have any added weight to it from water. So between shots, they were literally slapping it with towels and chamois to try and dry it off enough so it didn't literally shake and tremble from the slight addition of more weight to it. That's how precisely calibrated that thing was. I love that movie. I can't believe you didn't see it until the aughts.
I blame my parents because they had full control over what I could and couldn't watch.
That's fair.
And not once did they put on. My dad let me watch Vampire Hunter D when I was 8, but no one put on Jurassic Park in front of me. I didn't even know. Like, I knew about it, but I wasn't like, oh, this should be a thing. Somebody should have been like, you should watch this.
I have signed cast photos of the entire mainline crew from that movie, of the actors.
Jeff Goldblum?
Yes. And
Oh,
Laura
shit.
Dern and what's his name? Sam Sam Neill. That's it. And
Anyway, Laura Dern's amazing.
and the late Robert, what's his name? Richard Attenborough.
Did he play John Hammond?
He did indeed.
Sorry,
and his brother does all those nature documentaries. That's David Attenborough.
Oh, well, so okay, this is not like going to be funny at first here.
We're off topic, but that's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's my fault too.
Last year, my great uncle died. And I have also 5-ish years ago, my brother died, and they were both at the same. They both were having their funerals at the same funeral home, and they have these memorial papers, and both of mine are in my room. But before I haven't hung my uncle's one up yet. I have my brother's up. And so there was one point I had my uncle's like tucked on top of a stack of books, but it was like peeking partway out from my bookshelf. And my uncle used to always wear like one of those hats that you wear outdoors, but it looks a little bit like a safari hat.
Oh,
the
Muldoon hat.
Yeah, and I remember Krista, one of our old roommates, walked in and she was like, "Is that John Hammond?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Who's John Hammond?" And then she was like, "From Jurassic Park." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then Leo comes over and he goes, "Is that John Hammond?" I was like, "Oh, that's the memorial paper for my uncle's funeral." And sorry, like a little morbid, but it was funny because it's been long enough.
You said 5 years ago?
My uncle died. My great uncle died last year. My brother died.
Okay, I was gonna say because pretty sure Richard Attenborough died about 6 years ago. So
I can send you a picture. We're related.
We're related.
I'll send you a picture of it because you'll see. Like once they said it, I was like, "Oh, he does look like the guy from Jurassic Park."
Dumb.
Anyway, emotional video games. Sorry.
Yes. So that was brought on by the fact that the Ghostbusters game is fucking amazing. I actually, oddly enough, this is gonna sound really weird, but it's just a matter of those, like 3 degrees of separation or whatever. I sold a copy of this game when it originally released to one of the developers' fathers.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds so bizarre to say that, but he, like, the guy came in asking if we had the game and said that his son worked for insert company name. I think it was Free Radical. No, Terminal Reality, I think is what it was. Whoever the developers were of that game. Now I need to find out. And I didn't know the developer's name at the time. And said that his son, worked on this game. I was like, that's awesome, because I've heard great things about this game, and I hadn't gotten it yet. And I said, and the movies were awesome. And name-dropping the development studio, I looked up the development studio, and sure enough, that was the studio. I'm like, huh. Well, all right then. And I want to say I was right. Please say I was right. Where's the developer studio? Terminal Reality. I was right.
Hey.
Are they based where I think they are? No. They were based in Texas. I know exactly why I was wrong, because I was thinking of Bend Studios, which is located like 3-4 hours away from me.
Whoops.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was like, that's neat. But yes, no, this game is freaking great. It's effectively the 3 scripts that were rejected by Bill Murray because he was an asshat. And they just worked them all into the game's plot, and he was contractually obligated to do the game already. So that's why every single line he spits out in that game sounds so monotone and so fuck you, I don't want to be here.
He didn't want to be there.
Still amazing.
Yes. Also, I think he probably only agreed to do it on top of the fact that he got his brother as the voice actor of a character in the game. He was trying to get his brother work, I think.
Aw.
Bill Murray.
Although, there is a funny story with that he had to tell David Letterman about.
Oh.
Because what happened was he was working on it, and the recording studio he was in is what happened to be in New York. What happens is that he leaves the recording studio one night, does the recordings, comes out, starts going down the street, no real reason, and just randomly starts humming the theme to Ghostbusters. Doesn't even think about it. He's just doing it. And he turns around and he sees this old couple there, and they're just looking at him. Grow up. How egotistical you are singing the theme song to your own movie.
The worst part is too is like he technically hates like anything he did with Harold Ramis because it set him as a comedic actor, and it's like, yeah, but Harold Ramis is the reason why you have a career, you douche. How about you just quit being an ass about it and just accept it? But
there's a weird thing and this is slightly off topic, but there's a weird thing in comedy movies, and the idea is you do one because you won't be able to hit those same strides again.
Yeah, the concern is typecasting at that point.
Now, and one of the reasons why one of the things that comes up is if you go through Bill Murray's filmography, that's the only movie he's ever starred in that he has a sequel to.
Huh. He wasn't in Caddyshack 2?
Nope. It was a different actor.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the only one. I did find, but I just don't have a good image for it, a game that actually did make me very emotional for parts of it.
Sad emotional or
actually kind of sad once I got to part of it.
Oh. Sad Leo is
so,
sad.
Not super sad. Like there's
Right.
one out there that I just couldn't bring myself to continue playing, but that's a different story because I never played through it because I couldn't bring myself to play through it, and that's This War of Mine. That one
depressing.
That was just got hit such a depressing state that I'm like, I just can't bring myself to play the rest of this. Got myself walked into a soldier or not soldier, just some guy shooting down some other person. And I had no way to stop this or do anything. I just had to watch it go down. Like, I don't know if I want to keep playing this game. Kind of sad on this.
Yeah,
because there's the point where you play a game where it's where it'll get you the emotions, and then there's the point where do I want to keep doing this for so much time?
Yeah, I mean, a game can put you in a very, very vulnerable state mentally, and if it's doing that, you should not continue it. It's just not worth doing to yourself. Your mental health is far more important than whatever game you spent money on. I'm sorry, it just is.
At the time, I was not. I was actually looking for some reason got hooked to like games that were depressing. That was just one that I just could not get through. Like another game that I had that was really depressing was called Dead in Bermuda.
Not familiar with that one.
It's a fairly indie game, and what they in Dead in Bermuda, what you do is you're basically a group of survivors that crash landed on a planet, or not planet, sorry, in an island, and there's a weird mystery that you have to work with, but it's almost guaranteed that you're going to lose no matter what you do. Is that sort of type of game.
I don't like that. I want some sense of hope.
Apparently there's ways to beat it, but I've never found it, and I always made bad decisions in it. So
Look at the guide at that point.
It's like, are you convinced at this point that the people who said it's beatable are lying?
No, not that bad. I kept making the exact same decisions each time because this is what I would do for it. And there's some images there. You might have to blow them up for Dead in Bermuda. No, the one that I was looking into, which I could only find this image for its cover art for some stupid reason. It's not even the right cover art. Is it's an indie game called Dead State.
Dead State Reanimated.
That sounds really familiar. Do I have that in my Steam library?
I know
I do, but my computer won't let me play it.
So here's what Dead State does. Dead State has a very simple tactical RPG combat system.
I do have it in my library. And so do you, Liz. It says so.
I know. I just said I have it, but my computer doesn't let me play it.
That's dumb.
Like it just doesn't let her. Like doesn't allow her to.
You're not allowed to play this game.
I can open it, but my mouse will just constantly move to the right. It just like slides around the screen.
Controller drift.
Yeah, but with my mouse, I
Yeah.
cannot stop it.
Well, if you
Because
pick
I
up
need
the
controller
mouse
drift.
and you put your finger onto the trackball, you'll be fine.
I have a laser mouse.
How dare you live in modern days?
How
It's
dare
wireless
you?
too,
How dare
so-
you?
You eat your porridge like everyone else.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Oh my god, that was a really good Kermit.
Hi ho! Thank you.
I identify with Kermit memes like a lot.
My life is a cesspool of misery and disappointment.
All right. Emotional games.
Emotional games. So here's the thing on this, right?
Jackie's gonna throw something at me. She hates when I do that.
Kermit
Talk about
voice.
emotional games. Well, apparently someone else is a little more emotional then, right?
No, no. When I do my Kermit the Frog voice.
The frog here.
Kermit the Frog here. Legally distinct. There's an extra R in there somewhere.
So here's the thing. In that game, it's got a very simple tactical RPG setting because you're basically a person who wakes up who survives a plane crash, wakes up, and gets thrusted into the zombie apocalypse in a section of Texas. Here's sort of the catch to this game, right? The tactical portion of the game, not its strong suit, but that's not where the game's strength is. The game's strength is in decision making. You get to see and in that game you can kill hundreds and thousands of zombies if you want to, and people too. The only way you get EXP to level up your character is if you survive the day.
Okay.
Now the thing is that every survivor you have in your team will let you. They also level up, get experience points if they survive the day. You cannot control how anyone else levels up but your own character.
Okay, that could be rough.
It sounds rough, but it's really interesting, and here's why. They developed it that way to fit their backstories. Each person is there's like something like 30 or 40 characters in there. Each one has their own unique backstories and their own unique reactions to yourself. And that's all based on the conversations you have with them. Like in the beginning, one of the first things your character will wake up in the school basement from passing out from the plane crash. And the first thing you can when you wake up, the first thing you can say is, "Where is my family? Where is my wife? Where is my husband? Where is my children? Where the hell am I?" And depending on what you pick is how they respond to you. If you pick a male character as yourself and you say, "Where's my wife?" the rest of the game from now on assumes your wife is dead, and every character thinks your wife is dead in the crash. Whether or not he pops up in the character doesn't matter.
What if you're a male character and you say, "Where's my husband?"
They all assume you're gay.
Oh, okay.
And this actually comes
that's
up
fair.
because that's fair. If
Fair
you say
assessment,
that they're
fair assessment.
if you say that they're where's my family, the interesting part is that is that some characters will avoid talking to you to get you to open up because they think it's too tragic to bring it up, and you have to have a higher enough negotiation skill to let them open up. And each of these characters some of them have some very tragic backstories on there. There's an old man who's a really good shooter. However, when you bump into him, he's in his house, and you have to convince him that you're not you're not a bad person on this. As it turns out, that his wife, you find out, he has a status effect on him called "Nothing is Golden." So every character in the game has a set of morale that they have. The better their morale, the better they apply themselves to the rest of the game. Some characters will have "Nothing is Golden," which means because they've had so much tragedy that happened, it hits them so hard they will never gain in that morale. They're always going to be a detriment to your team
Oh, snap.
because they can't get over it. He has this really sad story because what happens is that when the zombies were getting worse and worse, his wife stayed behind in a nursing tent to try to heal as many people as possible. When she got out and hit a bunch of bite marks that she had. Her husband couldn't bring herself to it. She knew that he needed to kill him, but he could not bring himself to take him down. So instead, he locked her in the basement of the house. And what you do to get him to join your side is you convince him to leave the house. And the only way he leaves the house is by killing his wife.
Oh.
And so once he does that, he's committed to your group. But his morale will never go up. There's another person in the game that is from Japan, and you can meet her pretty early on, who only speaks Japanese. And for the entirety of the game, until you can get, the thing is that you can't trust her enough to communicate with her without being able to let her join you in any combat scenario. So what happens is she stays behind. But because nobody can talk to her, the only jobs that you can assign her are very minimal ones. If you go through the game, though, you can find an English to Japanese dictionary. Now, here's the kicker with it: when you go from place to place to raid for supplies in like different sections in different towns, there is no respawning equipment ever.
What do you mean?
So, if let's say you go to the nearby town and it has and you find some hammer, some supplies to make tools, or some building supplies, some food supplies, and then you go back home. You come back to that place like days later, nothing responds. It's just completely empty.
It remembers all your
the stuff.
scavenging. So basically, it forces you to travel further and further and further away.
There's a woman who wants to have an abortion but doesn't want to tell her the husband about it. And but she confides in you because she knows you're going out there, and you have to either A, convince her to keep the baby, or B, convince her if you want her to lose the baby, then you have to go find the medical tools so that way you can go get this done. There's little decisions that you have to make, and they all affect everything. And different people, because of how they react, some of these people become weird, like sub-leaders. So people follow other people, and you have to kind of work the balance on it. And it gets kind of emotional because some people get really sad stories on that you have to go through and help them out, or not. That it's not all doom and gloom. One of my favorite stories in there is a guy named Oscar and his wife, which they're this cute couple, and they're such a cute couple together that they actually increase your team's morale because of it, because they're just such a cute couple.
That's so cute.
So just like, oh, I love you, honey bear.
I love you, sweet. You get into a conversation with his wife, and her wife's from Mexico and doesn't speak any English, and so he uses her husband Oscar to translate, which is fine. And she's like, and this is this conversation, and she's like trying to explain to Oscar what he needs, and Oscar is far too embarrassed to tell you, and then you have to like convince him to do it. And it's like, so she says it in Spanish, talks to Oscar. Oscar's like, I don't know. How would you say this? I don't want to. And if you get frustrated enough, you get him to spit it out. He's embarrassed to tell you that his wife needs pads for her period.
Oh, come on.
And so that's actually the conversation point my character had. Like, come on, man. Every day I'm going out taking down zombies. This is the least of my concerns. Come on.
There's far worse things going on right now, guy. Come on.
But he's so cute and embarrassing with it. It's just adorable. The catch is she's infected.
Oh.
But if you do well enough, you can keep that infection at bay.
No. I don't want a sad story.
That was really cute, and then you ruined it.
Yeah.
I did ruin it.
God,
But
you are a cold-hearted bitch.
Maybe I am the monster.
Sniffles now.
Sniffles. But yeah, I have emotions.
Yes. You do.
But no, it's a game that you don't think about too much as being it's your interactions and your attachment to these characters that end up making it a kind of a sad thing to deal with.
Mhm.
And you still have to go out there and try to help out more people.
Right. It's about pushing forward.
Hmm.
Yeah, that brings the
Not-
shields.
I will let you guys know this. I raise my science skill and try to max it out as fast as I can, so I can make sure to always have antibiotics at home in my
Nice.
home base. I'll just do the work myself and make sure that Maria is perfectly fine every day.
You're like, no, you're gonna be fine.
You'll be fine.
You'll be okay. Oh man. I'm gonna tread old ground myself. Let's see. Unless Liz has a good one.
I have a few. Are you sure you don't want to go first?
Well, it's all just treading old ground. So, because I feel like I've already mentioned it at least once before. I say at least. It's probably been more than once before.
BlazBlue. Oh.
This game, every single time, the ending, it wrecks my insides. In fact, when I got to the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, when they start the scene that's supposed to be the end of this game that they show, the segment that's in Advent Children Complete, I'm sitting there as this scene begins, and my wife's like, oh no, are they going to make Brandon have the feels again? I was like, oh god, please no. And then they
didn't.
And then they 180'd that shit. I'm like, no, that's worse. What's happening?
Now nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah, so in case you weren't aware, Leo, the main character of this game has been dead since the original Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, is that guy? Got it.
Yeah. So you start this game, and if you're familiar with the original game, you know how this story ends.
Yeah, you go. It's like watching Rogue One. You know how Rogue One has to end, and you're sad, but you still knew it.
Yeah, like and Crisis Core is an amazing game too, which makes it all the worse because I'm just like, I become a baby with that because it's like, man, he held himself up so high even till the very end.
Some things just hit home for you.
Makes me want to cry.
Oh, are you even just thinking about it right now?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Aw.
It's horrible, man. This game, it wrecks me because, like, they actually make the HUD break throughout the final battle of him taking on dozens, hundreds of Shinra soldiers.
Oh my gosh.
Like, the HUD is slowly breaking and his outfit's all beat up, and like this meter that you've been using throughout the game that, is like a slot system, is like crumbling away as it's activating and doing these things. And the very last thing it's doing is revealing the matchup for Aerith. And that's the very last thing that triggers before the final cutscene of his death.
Oh.
I was like, fuck, you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, it fucking wrecks my insides. So
sometimes Square knows how to just pull at your heartstrings and not let go.
Oh my god, it's like they said, hey, you know that thing that you see in cartoons that say 10 tons? Oh, look, you have a heartstring. Let's tie that to this and drop it.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, Jesus, man, this game wrecks me. So it's like, I love it. I've played through it the one time, and I vividly remember all of it.
I have things like that, but they're books, and I don't want to talk about them and get us back off topic
well, to make it even worse is that a character in Crisis Core that divvies out little missions to Zack is in the remake.
Kunsel.
Yes, exactly.
I mostly know him by name, but when they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get Kunsel and let him know," I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
Because if anyone's gonna call out Cloud,
Yeah.
At least right now.
And be confused and concerned and be like, what's going on, man? Because he was the mission designator. And he
Does he
was
know that
instructed.
Zach's dead?
Yes, he was told that they all died.
Oh, shit. God,
So,
could you imagine him being in Shinra Tower and just being like, wait, Cloud's alive?
yeah, that's exactly my point. I was like, ooh, things.
Yeah, so one of the things that and like this is only mildly off topic, is Square said that so right now the remake is just off the rails. Like,
Just because the
it
ending
is,
just totally flipped everything over.
yes, and I'm excited for it. I'm
Fuck
I'm
yeah.
apparently part of the minority that actually really liked the ending.
We're a
Outside
minority?
of the whole, yeah, I like most people that I know are pissed at the ending.
Oh, eat a dick.
I know, but also, okay. Firstly, the director was like, look, we already have a Final Fantasy VII. We're going to remake it, yes, but I don't want a one-to-one remake. If you want to play the exact same Final Fantasy VII you have, well, it already exists.
They did
but
say...
secondly...
Go ahead, yeah. You're probably going to say it.
No, you go ahead. I don't know that I'm about to deviate from that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, on top of that, he said they're not going to deviate, like, to an extreme degree off of the original, you know...
I literally was about to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they're not going to go that far, so it's like,
I don't know how, because without having, like, for, like, right now, for all we know, Aerith could live. That whole, like, 7 seconds thing, Aerith could totally live. But you gotta imagine, if she lives, she can't summon Holy from the life stream to stop Sephiroth, which is probably what Sephiroth wants, is to not be.
Yes,
you know?
but that's
Like,
the thing. She knows how it's supposed to go. She's seen
right.
her own doom, and she knows that that's the way the future is supposed to be.
Right, but like, what if, as Cloud, you stop it from happening, and maybe somebody else dies? Like, does Aerith have to die by Sephiroth's sword to go into the live stream, or can she just like throw herself off into the water and drown?
You need to shut your mouth, and we will never speak of this again, because it's not something that we're going to consider.
Right. So, because there's some speculation, like, what if in that 7 seconds, you, as Cloud, have to choose if Aerith dies or if someone else dies? And like, I don't want to make that decision.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, because I'm not going to say Tifa should die in place of Aerith. I'm not going to be that person.
Oh, I would never be that person, because Tifa
But,
is
like,
best girl, so...
I love Tifa so much, but also I really love how Remake did Aerith. Like,
Yeah.
I think that they got her down so well, and I love her voice actress. I think she's so cute. And watching her play Final Fantasy VII and get like and start crying over watching herself like play this role is so sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all the feels.
So many feels.
Yeah. So, like we were saying, this game wrecks me. This one right here. So, if they do anything, if they just.
It's just going to be really interesting to see how they go about it, and if they're going to have like the realities merge, I guess, with...
It's the flush out of detail, I think, is what he means by they're not going to divert from the original plot. Is that
right? But like, because I don't know if we're going, because we see Zack and Cloud walk past Aerith and Cloud.
Right.
Are they on separate realities, but Aerith is just more attuned to it? Because, I mean, as far as we know, like, she is also time dimension traveled the same as Sephiroth did. Because she knows how it's supposed to go. She knows too much. Like, and it's very much hinted at that she knows too much. Because at the ending...
Because
when
all the whispers, she can understand them.
Yeah, but when she's like... Because... when the whispers are destroyed and they come out the other side, she's like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And she's kind of a little bit scared about it, because she was like, I knew I was gonna die. Like, I knew this was what my fate was supposed to be, and now I don't know what's coming.
And now we don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is most likely a multiverse thing, simply for the fact that the whole point of, them showcasing that you're destroying the harbingers of fate is that things that were dictated are no longer required. So things can now be different, and it's showing you that things could be different.
Right. And I just feel like, I don't know. So maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like the hardcore Final Fantasy VII fanboys who want to see zero changes need to stuff it. And I think that the following parts of the remake need to do whatever they want. Like, I want to meet the same characters, yes, but I feel like if it's going to go off the rails, it should go off the rails. If Cloud doesn't want to go that way, I don't think that, like, maybe they don't go to Junon. Maybe they go somewhere else first, you know? Like, I feel like there is going to be, like, a logical, you know, sort of progression to where they go and what they do. So we might still follow that same path. But I feel like since Fate has essentially been destroyed at this point, and like there's nothing that's really binding them to the original story, and it is kind of a multiverse thing, like Aerith, I think, will do her best to keep it on track, because she knows that if she doesn't die and she can't cast Holy from the live stream, Sephiroth like may win. You know? So,
I just thought of a thing.
what?
You want to know how they can make it so she still dies?
What?
Cloud doesn't break free of the control.
Oh my gosh! That's so dark. I love it.
And that would actually make it so his desire to be forgiven throughout Advent Children make way more sense.
My gosh, that would be so crazy.
Oh, okay. Well,
You just hurt my heart, and I was like, I like this. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I love a good happy ending, but I also just love some really good twisted shit. Like, I just love when you get that thing and you're like, oh gosh, that just turned the knife in my heart.
It did.
Not again.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Oh, that was crazy.
Okay, yeah. Minor spoiler cast over. So other emotions other than this one that I am showing. What are the emotions you wish to show now, the Liz?
Okay. So, I have two offhand. The first one I want to say it was like a happy tears sort of thing.
I like those. Those are good tears.
Yeah, this one was a really good sort of happy tears sort of situation. But I beat Persona 4 for the first time, and the ending was really sweet. I got the good ending.
Nice.
And it was really sweet, and it was so adorable. And I actually, like, when it showed the ending scene with everybody running after the train while the main character is like on the train to go back to the city, that moment when they all started running after it and they were like, I'll never forget you, tears in my eyes. I was like, I want to stay in Inaba with my friends, but also I have such good friends. And they were some happy tears because it was such a good ending. And I feel, I don't want to get into spoilery stuff. I know this game is like 11 years old, but I don't really care. But the like plot twist of whodunit.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great twist.
I felt betrayed.
Yeah, it's like, oh, get the fuck up out of here.
So good though. This other one I want to mention, I guess I'll kind of like build up to it because this one got me in a different way. So I'll go back. One of the first games that ever made me get emotional and cry was Final Fantasy IX's ending.
That's fair.
I think it was like a bittersweet kind of like mostly happy ending, whereas like 10 is like, oh, I'm so sad. Like 10 made me cry, but it's like no one gets good things in life.
Yeah, 10's ending was trying to say, hey, we're gonna make you a crying bitch.
Yeah,
that was
worked.
Their goal. That was just the plan.
They succeeded because that ending is just gut-wrenching and sad. And like, I'm glad that Yuna learned that like she can stand on her own, and you know she can move forward with it, and the heartbreak is not a defining thing for her. And I think 10-2 is kind of like she's not hung up on Titus. She just wanted to find him to know, like, is he back? And I think if he wasn't back, or, you know, what have you, I think she would have been okay, you know? So I feel like that's a lot of growth on her part. But him going back, him, like, going to the far plane and, like, high-fiving Jax and whatever, like, God, it's so sad.
Yeah, that little part at the end there, that one did kind of get me. Because,
That
like,
one-
you know, it was Jack's dream to, you know, fix things with his son, and in a weird, twisted way, he brought his own dream to life.
Right.
And managed to kind of resolve his own inner turmoil about the way he left things with his son.
Yeah, and I think that was a big thing is he did, like, by the end of his journey with Braska and Aaron, he did realize, like, I was a shitty father. I was a shitty man. I was just a piece of shit human being by that point. Like, he had let himself go. I've thought a lot about Jack as a character, by the way. I think he's really, for being like such a background character, he's so well fleshed out.
He's
like,
actually the star. That is his
and,
game. Like, Titus is saying, this is my story. It's not, because
it's Yuna's, first of all.
Well, and even then it's not, because that's the thing. The idea is that all of Final Fantasy X is Titus experiencing Spira the way his father did. The way his father and Yuna's father did. That is just a mirroring of their experiences.
Okay, I get behind that. I feel that. I'd never really thought about it that way.
Because you find the sphere grid, like those video spheres,
Yeah.
of Jecht and Braska and Aaron, as you get to the places that they're recording that at. And it's supposed to be like, think of it like the whole time jumping thing with in Final Fantasy VIII with Laguna. It's like, oh, similar areas or near this area, and we're going across time.
Just following in the same path.
Exactly. It's like you're seeing that, but it's almost like you are playing the background characters yourself when the true hero is his journey was 10 years ago.
Yeah. And I just feel like you really, even just seeing like memories and the spheres, you just get such a good journey of Jecht. Like, you know, I don't feel like he was always a horrible father or a horrible man, but I feel like that's where he ended up, is just in this situation where it was easier to be a pile of shit than it was.
The hype got to him is what happened.
Yeah, I think that life did just get to him, and it came on too fast. Because according to, and I'd have to find the quote for it again, but when he went on his journey with Braska and Aaron, he was like 30 to 31, which means he had like his wife got pregnant when Jecht was like 22, and I don't know. That means he was a young Blitzball star. He was famous very young.
And he maintained the fame, and that's the thing that also hurts.
Yeah, is he went on and he was very famous very young. He maintained that fame going into his, you know, a more adult life. And I don't know, I feel like it was easier to be like, my wife loves me. I've got fans who love me. Who gives a shit about being a good father? And just like kind of fell into alcoholism and all that stuff, you know. And I feel like he made poor decisions.
Yeah.
But then you see like when he gets taken away from his family and he meets Aaron and Braska, and he goes on this journey. Like, he's still kind of a piece of shit in the beginning of it, but he's just like, he's just with the guys grow. And yeah, but you do get to see him grow. And then when you get to that point when Titus finds the sphere and Jecht is like trying to apologize and he doesn't have like the words to say, because like what do you say to your kid in essentially a videotape to try and explain how you've changed and how you understand and blah blah blah. And Jecht just like, he kind of falls out of his words, and then he goes, remember, you're my son. And it ends, and you're like, oh my god, like, it really came around. And then him sacrificing himself to become Braska's final Aeon, like,
it's like, you have a child that you can still be a father to. I don't.
Yeah,
I have nothing here. You still have something here to stay with. And ultimately it failed, unfortunately, because we learned that Braska never returned.
Yeah, and it's just so sad, and it's just like, it's so brilliantly done. And I just feel like Jecht is one of the strongest characters in that whole game. Like, it's so amazing.
Also, technically, he is the reason why Sin no longer reincarnates.
True.
So he is the hero.
keep it at bay with when they all start playing the hymn of the faith,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just like, okay, like this will keep me at bay long enough for you guys to destroy me. Like,
Because it calmed him so much in life when he heard it.
and that's the only thing. Like, I think that it was even said that like sin was taking him over by this point, and he couldn't control himself as much anymore. Like, he couldn't keep sin at bay as much, so he so like it was taking him over. But with the whole world singing the hymn, he was like, this is gonna do it long enough for them to destroy sin.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought that was so good. I love Jack's character.
Yeah, Jack's a great character that's super understood. He is unfortunately not understood to the degree that he deserves to be, because he was a background player, even though he was technically the star player. So that's definitely a game that, when you look at it from the same perspective that you're discussing here with us, there is a depth to this character that most people don't actually notice. And when you understand that, and then you see the ending, that's an emotional thing.
Yeah, I feel like he's really generalized as either the asshole father, or people just think he's super cool. But I feel like the people, like, I'm just gonna put this out there, I feel like the people who say that, like, at least from my experience, a lot of the people who just like gush about how cool Jack is and like how awesome he is, which is true. But a lot of the times, those are the same people who think that Titus is a shitty character, who obviously didn't play enough of the game to understand why Titus is the way he is. Like, sorry about it, but I will defend Titus to my dying breath.
That's fine. I still think he's a shitty character, but also I'm comparing him to Jack, so...
I just feel like when people say that he's whiny, or when people... And I'm like, you try being taken 1,000 miles or 1,000 years away from your home, spat out into a place that you don't know anyone or anything. You're treated like the outsider. Like, sorry, but you try not being a whiny... Like, and he's like 18.
Yeah, you try not being a whiny... I'm gonna say it, a whiny bitch.
Yes, and so I just feel like when he finally understands everything that's happening around him, and he understands like what he's gotten caught up in, and everything that's going on, and what going on the pilgrimage even means for Yuna, I feel like you see just the most incredible shift in his character at that moment, because he's like, oh, like, he had no idea that essentially Yuna is going to die.
Yeah.
Like, if she can't stop sin, like, someone's going to turn into her final Aeon, and she is going to die to stop sin. And he has no idea. And so when he's just like, hey, cheer up and smile, and we'll get this done, and it'll be awesome, he has no clue. And Yuna doesn't want to tell him, because I don't think she wants to like bring that pep down. Like, you kind of need that going on this kind of a...
Yeah, and nobody wants to correct it. Nobody wants to be the one to say this isn't a thing, to really be so hype about this. I mean, we celebrate upon each victory, sure, but we don't celebrate the act of doing it.
Right. Like, the people who go on these, like, none of the Guardians that come out of it are celebrating. No. And that, like, Yuna going on this pilgrimage with so many Guardians, knowing that only one of them is going to sacrifice themselves, that's going to leave a lot of other people traumatized. Yep. I think that's probably part of the reason most summoners have only one Guardian, is because then it's just those two.
Yeah.
And, like... I don't know, when Titus finally, when they tell him, like, Yuna was kidnapped by the Albed because they don't want her to die at the end of this. And he's like, I'm sorry, she's gonna what at the end of this? Like, you just really see this shift, and it's just this moment. Everybody walks away from him, and it just lingers on him, where he's like, oh my God, like, I have been rooting for her. I have been trying to get her to carry on. I've been trying to get her to smile. And then he's just like, oh shit. And it just all leads up to this incredible moment. Like, yes, maybe he's a little bit whiny and maybe he's a little bit too peppy because you're too used to Cloud and Squall or whatever. Like, maybe he's not your
Peppy,
cup.
and you compare it to those two.
Yes, anyone's peppy compared to those two. But when you get when you really get into it and you see maybe he's just not your cup of tea. Like maybe as a character, you just don't really dig him as a character. But when you get to that moment in the game when he realizes everything that's going on, you're like, oh shit. And then he has that oh shit moment because that's also when you find out.
Yeah.
That what's going on, and it's just this incredible moment where you get to feel the things that he is that first time through. And I don't know, I love Titus as a character. I feel for him. I think he's a great character. I will stand him till my dying breath and defend him, because also that laughing scene is meant to be awkward. I'll also defend that.
It's meant to be awkward. I still hate it.
Yes, and you're entitled to, as long as you understand the point behind it.
Right.
That's the thing that I always hate is when people hate things. Like, people see that laugh scene and they're like, it's cringy and I hate it. Okay, it's meant to be cringy and awkward and weird. Like, it's meant to be that way. And as long I feel like as long as you understand that, I'm not gonna keep going on about it.
You may hate this.
Because you get it. Like, you understand why it's cringy and awkward. It's meant to be that way. It's people who don't get it that I'm like, do we have to have a conversation about Final Fantasy X?
Yes, let me sit you down.
And tell you why you're wrong. Okay.
Has Leo ever played 10? Is this one that he's played?
Nope.
Well, spoiler alert, you now know everything about it.
You now know the plot.
It is really good. And honestly, I'm gonna say it, one of the best Final Fantasy soundtracks.
It's pretty good. I don't think it's in my top 3 personally, but it's good.
I think it's going to be because I think 8 is one of my tops.
Fair.
I especially for the Final Fantasy VIII piano collections is one of my all-time favorites. 6 and 7 are also incredibly good, but 10 also just hits it home for me. So I think those are probably my top tracks. But honestly, I think 11 had one of the weakest soundtracks, to be honest. And I think 15's soundtrack is boring. It has some gems,
that's
but
because 15's soundtrack is primarily just other Final Fantasy tracks.
Yeah, and also it's done by, and I don't want to shit on Yoko Shimomura because she did Kingdom Hearts and she did Parasite Eve, but she definitely has a style. And I feel and the way my friend puts it really well is none of her stuff is really hummable.
The Somnus track is the only track I like from 15.
I like Luna's, but I'm also biased because I like Luna, or at least what Luna was supposed to be and not what we got. Anyway.
That's fair. That's fair. Did Leo come up with another game, by the way?
No, nope. Not yet.
I do have one more,
okay.
And this one broke me. This one, you know what? I have 2 that broke me. Sorry.
It grows.
I know. I could just keep going on and on and on. So one of my first ones, and I'll try and keep it brief. I'm really sorry.
No, it's all good.
The third Phoenix Wright game.
Haven't played that one yet.
Oh my god. Get the trilogy.
I have the trilogy.
Okay. Play through it. So in each game, there are cases that will just tear you apart. Mm-hmm. There's one in the first game. There's one in the second game. But the whole third game, outside of because there's always, throughout the games, there's filler cases, but there is also an overarching plot that ties them all together, but none more so than in the third game. Mm-hmm. It is so incredibly done. And I still, to this day, feel hurt. I feel victimized by it. I feel it hurt my feelings irreparably, but in a way where I'm I want to play this again because of how good it is. It's so well done, but it will break you, especially when you play through the first and the second games, and then you get to the third one and you just go through the whole thing, and then you get to the final trial and you're like, heartbroken and angry and sad, and you're just like seeing like everything, like 3 full games worth of. I mean, it's mostly like the first game and then the third game, but it all just comes to fruition in this like incredible final case, and then it ends, and you're left broken as a human being. It's so good. And I don't want to give spoilers because the reveal in the third game at the ending was one of the best things that had ever happened to me. I love it. I love it so much. So 100% recommend going through it. The HD version is on Steam if you don't know. I think you said you had it, but I don't know where.
I have it on the DS, but also on the Switch.
Okay, good. Yeah, play it on Switch. Play it on Switch. The HD version of it is so good.
I love the way it's drawn. Because they redrew everything.
Yes, they redrew all of the sprites and they redrew the backgrounds. They redid everything. They also redid the soundtrack to be.
Yes, they did rework the soundtrack, which is nice.
Yeah, so I recommend it. They're long. I'm gonna put it out there, and I know a lot of people might not like hearing this, but walkthroughs are your friend with these games, to be perfectly honest, because they can be like, they have some of the most niche solutions that you're gonna look at the what was it, like the light bulb in a can in Silent Hill 2 and be like, that somehow makes more sense. So I recommend at least having one on hand if you are absolutely stuck and can't figure out what's going on. So good. And then my last one, and this one also broke me as a human being, and there is a song that plays in the final credits that if I hear it, will just make me get emotional and like in my heart space.
Okay.
I don't know if you've played it.
I have not yet, but
Okay.
I have had an indirect encounter with Kira Buckland. The voice of 2B.
The voice of 2B.
Yeah, I say indirect because the one credit I have on IMDb is a project she also worked on.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like I said, like degrees of separation, man. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, so I recommend this one. It took me about 55-ish hours to get through it, but it's 3 stories. So you go through the game once and the credits will roll, but then you continue the game. You have to like go back to the main menu and say continue, and then you start a second story, and then you start a third story. And when you finish the third story, that's when you get the final credits, and you get the final version of the credits song, which hurt me. And then you play through the credits and that hurts, and it's incredible. It's so incredible. Like honestly, it just feels like a piece of art to me. it's I don't know. I could gush about Nier Automata every single day because it's so good.
How many endings do you think that game has?
26.
Okay, you're right. I was gonna say, because like I'm familiar with Nier because I've played through the original Nier, and I'm still mad that I missed a weapon because it's in a flashback sequence. That it's like the only thing that's that hard missable. But yeah, there's like the game changes with every playthrough. Like there's literally one that's just literally it's a novel. You're just reading.
Oh.
It's so weird.
I know it's coming to Steam.
Yeah, I don't know if it is or isn't at this point yet, but I know that
I don't know
because I know they re-released it on Xbox as the complete edition.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, so I know it has 26 endings because like there's endings A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah.
And so there's ending A, which is when you play through the game the first time, and then ending B, which is when you play it the second time, and then ending C, but then there's also endings D and E based on decisions you make in the final battle. And once you finish the game, it does let you do chapter select, so you can just select the final battle, replay it, and then do the different decisions.
Yeah, and then there's the one that deletes your save data.
No, that's not one of the endings. So when you're going through the final ending and you get the like true ending, and you're going through the credits that make me cry.
Oh, you're talking Automata. I'm talking the original.
Oh yeah, I'm talking Automata. So I've never played the original.
Oh yeah, no, the best ending for that is actually the one that requires you to it will forcibly delete your save data.
Oh, so in Automata they give you the option because I don't really want to spoil it, but there's a way in part of the ending where other people can come to help you, and you realize that the things that are coming to help you are people's save data.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they sacrifice their save data to essentially become something that can help you.
That's
And
really cool.
you get to the end of the credits, it asks you, will you sacrifice your save data to help somebody else as you have been helped? And you can say yes or no, and you don't get a different ending based on saying that. You get a trophy for it, but you don't get a different ending based on it. But I am only missing one ending. Some of them are silly. Like, some of them are just kind of like...
Unplug your programming chip.
Yeah, remove your programming chip. There's one where... So there's an android that goes by Jackass, and she is, like, kind of like a scientist, and she catches this particular fish, and she calls you over and is just like, hey, I want you to help me with something. Come over here whenever you can. And you go to her, and she goes, I found this fish. Will you eat it? And you go, why? And she goes, I just want to see what happens. I'm going to tell you, you'll probably die, but will you help me and do this? And if you say yes, you eat the fish, and then you're like, oh, it tastes like this, and blah, blah, blah. And you die. You straight up die, but it's one of the endings. Is eating this fish that Jackass gives you. So some of them are like that. There's one of them where you have to go into a village and kill all of the robots in this village. It's horrible. I felt like a horrible human being doing it, but I did it. But there's one ending that I haven't gotten because you have to complete one of the side quests that's pretty difficult. So you unlock one of the side quests. It's for Emil from the original game.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, like,
Sweet
do
boy.
his whole... Yeah, he's a robot now. And he wants to, like, he's lost all his memories, so you're finding these flowers to try and help him get his memories back. And when you unlock them all, something happens. I can't remember exactly what happens. I read about it, but it essentially makes him insane, and he becomes this giant ass boss monster in the desert area.
Yep.
And you have to destroy it and destroy him, essentially. But also there's a part of him that remains. Like, it's the small part of him that's like, oh no, this isn't me. That's not me. And so you, like, help him retain that, and then you get, like, a weapon or something from him, but also that final ending. But also I wanted to play this really quick. My friend got me the Nier Automata music box.
Oh, the music box.
Yeah. And it plays the song that makes me want to cry. So let's see if I can.
It cut out really bad.
Yeah, it's without me putting it, like, on my microphone. It's hard to make it. Anyway. It's
Okay.
really sweet. It's really sweet, and it's very, like, it just makes me want to cry every time I hear it. But my friend got it for me. Yeah. Anyway, that game gets me in the heart space. Gets me directly in the heart space, and I recommend that and the Phoenix Wright trilogy.
Well, the Phoenix Wright trilogy is an absolute as far as I'm concerned, because they're just adorably hilarious as you play them too.
It's weird because, like, when you first go into Phoenix Wright, it just looks kind of like a little bit goofy and a little bit like, oh, that's really funny. And then you just, like, you're like, oh, people are getting murdered. People you love are getting involved in cases, and my heart hurts. Like, it's so bizarre because you just expect one thing. And, like, yes, there are ridiculous characters like Larry Butts and April May.
When something stinks, it's usually the butts.
Yes, and you get like eeny miny and meeny miny, and you get all these goofy things that happen. But then when you're like going through it, you're like, oh God, I'm in pain. I'm hurting. My feelings hurt because of this game. And goddamn trials and tribulations just hurt my feelings. But I recommend that, and I recommend Nier Automata with everything I am.
Very nice. Did Leo discover another game?
Yep. Games that make me feel. Not really. No.
Oh, you monster.
Yep.
That's the running thing. No longer is it the Geek Scorpio, it's the Geek Monster. Or the
Geek
Monster Scorpio.
So have we been doing this for 3 hours now?
Yes.
2.5 on my recording.
Okay.
We've been here for 3 hours.
Yes. Well, it's also kind of like playing catch up because we haven't done just a generalized chat in a bit either, so.
Yeah. But also, video games that make me emotional and 90s anime are apparently two things I can talk a lot about.
The nostalgia goggles, when they come on with the 90s anime, I mean, it got all of us going a little bit more than I think we expected.
Yeah. I know that the 90s is when I really had a lot of, is when a lot of my anime, or like when I got into anime a lot more, and when I was like super hardcore into it, and like the early 2000s. Because we didn't get to mention Full Metal Alchemist or on High School Host Club, or Death
Tenchi
Note.
Muyo.
Oh God, yeah. I try not to talk about Tenchi Muyo because I'm almost embarrassed that I liked that show when I was younger. Because it's like I look back on it, it's like it's just it's space Sakura Wars, and I don't like it.
It's a space harem anime with some sci-fi plots.
Yes, and also the art for most of the girls is just upsetting to me.
Hi, Ashley.
Still watched it.
Yeah,
Just putting it out there.
Same here. I'm sure Liz watched it too.
Yes.
Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi Universe, Tenchi in Tokyo. Yeah.
Tenchi in Love.
It just goes on.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have.
Oh my God, the one I was gonna bring, the 90s anime I was gonna bring up, and I was so excited to bring it up, and then I got caught up in other things, was Big O.
Oh, that show, man.
I love that show, and in fact, it holds up. And I know this for a fact because I bought it all on Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray. I bought it on Blu-ray because my friend / Leo's brother, Ben, had never seen it or heard of it, and I was like, "It's so good!" And we watched all of it except for the last 5 or 6 episodes, which I have still never seen. So I'm probably gonna re-binge watch it at some point.
Okay, there's no way for me to really ask this question without it being a spoiler, so I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Did you see the episode where...
It's like the last... If it
the alternate... I don't know the order, so that's the problem. I don't know where this episode landed, but it's the episode I remember the most vividly. Did you see the episode where he never got the Big O?
No.
Okay, so that episode's a fucking trip.
I cannot wait to binge watch it.
It might very well be the last episode for all I know. That's the worst part. But it's a trip.
Hey, Leo, not to make you jealous, but Ashley just rubbed her whole face on my face.
Not jealous. She does that a lot.
Oh, snap!
She did that to me right now.
But the question is, was it the first time?
No, she does it to me all the time. She comes and sits in my lap, and then if she wants more attention, she just climbs up my chest and butts her face against my head. It's very cute.
Come here, you chonky boy. I hear you.
He's
a big chonk and needs to lose weight.
I loved Big O. I got it on Blu-ray. It still holds up. And Steve Bloom's voice acting was a little bit super corny, but you got to realize
It's a noir
that was
anime.
that was the point, because it was a noir anime. The point of it was that
Noir anime. That's
Noir-anime.
what Jackie just
Noir.
fucking said. Noir anime.
Noir-anime.
That almost sounds like I'm saying nominee. Oh my god, is it Kingdom Hearts?
Nominee.
Everything's Kingdom Hearts.
Every single thing is Kingdom Hearts.
That's the name of the episode. That's what I'm gonna call it. Everything is Kingdom Hearts. Sold.
A game that makes me happy, if I can just tack this on while
Do
we're
it.
talking about emotions. Long Live the King, or Long Live the Queen.
No, that's a fun one.
It's a visual novel style game where you play as Elodie. She's a princess who is 14 or 15, and on her next birthday, because her mother died, on her next birthday, she's going to inherit the throne. So you have to like get her through classes, and it's like
It's
etiquette.
Princess Maker, basically.
Essentially, but like it's like
that peaks. I hear Jackie go, "Ooh!"
wait. So it's like so you can do like etiquette, and that includes like speech and dancing and blah blah blah, but you can also do like politics and warfare and economics and whatever, like all and weaponry and things like that. And so you want to get her proficient in various skills. Well, along the way, different people are trying to trick her, because like her dad or her mom imprisoned somebody, and so they're like, well, the queen's dead, so I got to take it out on the kid instead. And so then they're like, trying to poison her. And so one guy will send you chocolates, and if you don't have the right skill leveled up enough, she won't know to check, like, why would the butcher be sending me chocolates? That's weird. Maybe I should inspect these. And then you find out they're poison chocolates. So the first, or one of the first, I've played this game, like, I've never beat it.
Okay, and what's it called?
Long Live the
Live
Queen.
the Queen. Yep.
And so, like, the reviews for it are amazing, because, like, so one time I had that skill up enough, and she's like, not gonna get me on this one. I know these are poison chocolates. Next time I played, I hadn't leveled up that skill, and she's like, ooh, chocolate! And died by getting poisoned.
Oh my god.
And then there's, like, one time when I was like, so Elodie's becoming the point of people wanting to kill her, and she's like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to die, but my cousin's birthday is this weekend, so maybe I should go. And I hadn't leveled her up enough in certain skills, and so she's sitting in her carriage riding along to the party, and they get attacked by bandits, and she gets shot in the side with an arrow, and she's like, my medicine skill wasn't up high enough, so she was like, oh, I know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to push the arrow through so it comes out the other side and does less damage. Well, I hadn't leveled her medical skill up enough for her to know that she was going to puncture a vital organ and die. So she punctured a vital organ and died. And another time I hadn't leveled up her weapon skill enough so that she didn't know how to do any sword play. So when some guy challenged her to a duel, he killed her.
Oh my god.
And she's just like, what is this?
And this looks like she's a magical girl on top of everything.
If you do it right.
Yeah, if she's not in general, she's not, but there is like a magical girl ending.
That's dope. This is super up Jackie's alley, actually, because she loves Princess Maker. And this looks exactly like it in so many respects. It's
so fun, and I've never beat it. And there's some really good walkthroughs out there to get various achievements, because there's one where she can literally like turn evil and join the
okay, that's awesome,
the sorcerer's side, the evil sorcerer's side or whatever. And and this is the thing, is like, you can't hyper focus on one skill. Like, there were times when I was trying so hard to max out her weaponry skill so that when she was faced with that duel again, she would win. But by neglecting all the other things, she
got off early.
Yeah, she insulted foreign dignitaries who suddenly decided she needed to die and were going to send assassins. and like I didn't up her divination skill, so I couldn't tell that these flowers that were sent were a bad omen sent by a wizard or whatever. Like, you can't hyper focus on one skill. You kind of have to spread it out, but it is a lot of trial and error, because you're gonna be like, okay, well, maybe if I do politics this day and naval warfare this day and dancing this day and speech and tennis this day, like...
That's insanity.
Yeah, it does look a little overwhelming at first, but the more you play with it, the more interesting it gets. And, like, dying is half the fun. So...
Right, because I take it it's one of those games that is designed around fast replay.
Yes. I've
Okay.
played for, like, 6 hours and probably died 12 times, I guess.
Okay, yeah, so that's a lot like Princess Maker. It's designed for rapid replays. Like each playthrough is generally not terribly long.
Several hours.
Yes.
Like a couple hours each, maybe.
This person says better political sim than the Crusader Kings 2.
It's probably accurate.
This person says, I was under the impression that it looked like Princess Maker. Not even close. This is survive! Mola mola! Sudden death.
Oh, well,
I
feel like he's wrong, because it looks exactly like a Princess Maker.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is.
It's
This
half
person,
is, half isn't.
Yeah. Magical Girl Queen Elizabeth Bizarre Murder Simulator.
That's a genre. I like it.
I'm trying to find some of the funnier ones, because this person goes, I love this game and I hate this game.
Accurate statements.
Person goes, this game ruined my life. I bought it on a whim and I died horribly. Big whoop, right? But by the time I died, it was too late. The main character was my princess, and I just had to see it through. I thought, I'll keep playing until I beat it. Then that's it. I was wrong. So wrong. There were multiple ways to win, and I got curious. I played with stats, seeing the new opportunities they offered. I started to min-max. I hate min-maxing. They played 197 hours in this game.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I think we should call this a wrap, since this has been going on for over 2.5 hours.
Yes. This was super fun, though. I always love this.
Yeah, I'm going to try and, what would be a good day for us to just get into chat and talk? We're going to have to discuss that after this, just so we can have a little bit of catch-up time in the middle of the month somewhere.
This weekend doesn't work for me, but I think that kind of playing it by ear works best. Fridays, I'm usually pretty available.
Okay. How about you, Leo?
Yeah. I'd have a change of time. I'll talk to you more about it after the stream.
All right, cool. Well, guys, if you tuned in this long, thank you. I'm sorry, also, because we all ramble far too much for our own good. But also, I still don't know where Idaho is.
Mm-hmm. That's a real problem.
You?
Yeah. Maybe if I go there, I might remember where it is.
Come here. You have friends.
It's true. There are friends. Well, till next time, guys.
I've seen them.
What? Where? All right, till next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you'll stay tuned for another one. And from now on, we're going to be doing the wheel right before, which is a very bad idea, because I don't have these little card things down on the bottom made for everything on the wheel yet. So I'm going to get started on that.
This is going to be fun and just on the cuff for all of us.
Yeah, no one will be ready.
Except you.
Oh, I won't be ready either. There is no preparing for my unpreparedness.
Oh, I'm excited.
Right?
Awesome. Well, next time.
Yeah.
See you next time, everybody.